Why do they want Gaza in the first place? It seems a lot of trouble killing all these people, committing, atrocities on camera. I mean, the press are barred, but we're still getting a lot of video out of the area. That's a big hit. Why would you be willing to go through all of that to get Gaza? Why do they want it?
The Zionists from the beginning have wanted a greater Israel. And David Ben-Gurion wrote a piece in 1918. And David Ben-Gurion, of course, is the founding father of Israel.
Yes.
Wrote a piece in 1918. I don't think it's ever been published in English. It's just in Yiddish, where he describes what his goals are for a greater Israel. And it obviously includes Green Line Israel, Gaza, the West Bank. It includes parts of the East Bank. It includes parts of southern Syria. It includes parts of southern Lebanon. And it includes the Sinai Peninsula. Just think about that. That was Ben-Gurion's vision. And this was a vision that was shared by almost all the early Zionist leaders. And there are still many people in Israel who are in favor of a greater Israel. They don't want a tiny Israel.
It's the Homeless Left with Matt Weinglass. Episode 128. Manufactured Distractions. A real fake news update. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
Here we go. Here we go, guys. Welcome one all to another episode of The Homeless Left. I'm your host, Matt Weinglass. This is a non-tribal approach to news. The Homeless Left. Welcome. Today, we are going to try something a little different. We've been doing this show for 2 years for you guys, and we've had so many great guests come on the show, so many great conversations, interviews. We've gone to the story, as our co-host Craig Pastas tells us. When possible, go to the story. When not possible, just report the best you can, do the investigation, do the work, and let that speak for itself. And always go at it with courage, with principle, with conviction, and that leads to consistency. So we apply these non-tribal mindsets to everything we do, and it makes it actually, the results are consistency because you apply principle even when it's inconvenient. That's what makes it principle, not just applying it when it's convenient to do so. With that said, what we're trying to do today, which is totally new, 128 episodes we're on. It's pretty remarkable. Never thought we'd do this much with you guys. But today we're going to try just kind of a one-on-one with you today. Just me and you guys will be engaging with you. I'll be responding to your comments, your anything you want to throw up on our Rumble, on our YouTube, even our Twitter and our Facebook. I'm doing a little Facebook feed right now here in Hollywood on my private Facebook account. We don't have a Homeless Left account, but anyways, whatever your preference is as far as engaging on whatever social media platform, go for it. We will engage with you back. But this is me today. This is very intimate today. We just thought we'd try this new. We've done the super duper shows with you guys, multiple guests and multiple co-hosts, and it does feel like the Homeless Left is a team effort. It always has been from the beginning. I never thought of it. It never even occurred to me ever to just call this show the Matt Weinglass Show. I don't think I'll ever be doing a show like that. It seems a little away from my my vantage point is always about team. It's always about community. You build strength with numbers. It's kind of my whole theater and film background is that you can't do anything by yourself. It always takes a team. So that's how we look at this. But today, just thought it would be a good opportunity to do the show with you guys, one-on-one or one-on everyone or whatever you want to call it. But that's what we have today. And so just a shout out at the beginning, we threw that up there, the Tucker intro. That's important. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the psyop that had been going on through the mainstream media, tricking us all into thinking that there was these two-party politics. It's thinking that we needed to be mad at our neighbor, needed to be mad at somebody who voted differently than us. But it's not really that way. It's actually a bottom-up fight that we have to be in. We have to acknowledge that and look at that and trying to build an alliance with people that are really, at the end of the day, we're all kind of coming from the same place. Even if we differ ideologically on certain issues, we all want the same things. And I think that that's kind of a realization Tucker Carlson has taken. We can talk about, how he's getting elevated, how he has such, success right now doing his show on Twitter. We always look at those things. We don't do any hero worship. We don't idolize anyone. But when somebody gets something right, we need to call that out and acknowledge that. Just like when somebody gets something wrong, especially if somebody that you do like and you do look up to, if they get something wrong, you have to have the ability and the wherewithal to be able to call them out and say, you got this wrong. So it works both ways. And so we definitely do acknowledge that Tucker is on the right side right now when it comes to Palestine, when it comes to Israel's control of our government, of our institutions, of everything that we know here in our country. Seems like the influence is so strong that we can't even have a conversation about it without being told that we are the danger, we are the threat. Having conversations is dangerous. Words are violence. There's punishment. There's deplatforming. There's defunding. There's arrest. There's deportation. There's so many ways you can make an example out of people. And for what? For having conversations, for having critique of a foreign government. Wow. Unbelievable that we can't do that for a very particular government, for a very particular country. We're not allowed to critique. We can critique any other country, any other foreign nation. We can even critique our own nation, our own government. And that's totally legal. The one you can't do, the one you cannot do, you cannot critique Israel. And we're realizing that is the case. And we're also figuring out why. Why is that? And we should be curious about why that is. And then once we understand that, we can start to move towards what can we do about it? What can we do about it? Well, that's what this show, one of the things that we take on every week, as you guys know, we're on twice a week now, Tuesdays and Thursdays. This afternoons, we're here. We started at 12 noon Pacific. That's 3 o'clock Eastern. So you guys can check us out on any of the platforms that we are on. Rumble's been our main one. Rumble, Twitter is the same handle. It's the Homeless Left. And we had to start a new YouTube channel. If you guys don't know, this is the channel. It's THL Presents. It's on YouTube. The Homeless Left on YouTube got terminated. Well, why did it get terminated? Well, it was for having conversations like these. It was for having guests come on the show and discussing topics, sensitive topics like COVID, sensitive topics like Ukraine, like election integrity, and of course, like Israel, Palestine. You can't do that without getting punished for it. And in our case, the Homeless Left on YouTube did get the ultimate punishment, which was termination. But anyways, this channel is up and running. So please, guys, if you get a chance, go like and follow on YouTube, THL Presents, until that channel gets taken down. And when they take that one down, we'll just start a new one. That's how we do things. We'll never run out of names, I guess, as Michael Scott, the character on The Office, said one time. We'll never run out of names. You can cancel me, you can bankrupt me, but I have an unlimited amount of ideas for names. So we will continue to fight, and we're not going to give up if they even do it again. But again, this one's actually working well right now. That the YouTube channel is actually working very well this time around. So again, we appreciate all your guys' support and all the good stuff like that. Okay. All right. Let's get started today. Let's see if there's anything else to let you guys know before we get going. Yes. Well, we are calling today's show Manufactured Distractions. So we're going to be looking at a whole realm of stuff. We're going to look at the new FEMA money that Trump is cutting for institutions, for states that I suppose are boycotting Israel. Not allowed to do that. Again, we can see the paper trail of it. You won't have the disaster relief if you boycott Israel. We'll get into that story shortly. We have some Israel investing in some fake news propaganda. We're going to look at some of that and more smear campaigns happening against people who are speaking out. So we'll look at that. And a little feud going on in MAGA. This has been going on for several weeks. On one side, you have the Tucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens. And the other side, you have Laura Loomer and all the others, Zionists, paid propagandists. We'll look at some of that that's going on. And the Jeffrey Epstein files, we're never going to see them. But Whitney Webb has a kind of an interesting take on the next Epstein and why maybe blackmail by the Mossad in Israel isn't necessarily the main thing they need to do anymore. They might be done with that. That might be a thing of the past. So we're going to look at that as technology age moves ahead and AI becomes the thing of the thing, where it is the new oil. It does look like AI information is the new oil. Whoever has the most information wins. We have a little This Week in HOLLYWOKE for you guys, and we're going to get into some MAHA news. We know what it's not. Some RFK inching forward. Is he, though? Is he really inching forward? We'll see. We'll get into that. And, of course, like I said earlier, we'll be doing some talking back with you as well later in the show. So get those questions, comments ready, and I'll be happy. I'm actually looking forward to engaging with you guys one-on-one on this today. Okay. And just a reminder why we do this show. We do this show because enough of us, and we started here on the left. We're here in Hollywood, here in Los Angeles. Enough of us here just had enough of feeling uneasy about everything, uneasy about the state of our country, of the political landscape, the economy, society in general. The idea that we weren't able to have discussions, that we were getting pushed back, we were getting told to shut up, stay in line, don't let the other guys win. If you challenge your own party, you're helping out the bad guy. That doesn't actually make any sense. And we were kind of getting sick of that. Just for asking questions, we were getting told that we were in the wrong. And we don't want to play that game anymore. That's called tribalism. And tribalism means you're limited to really the only thing that matters is the success of that tribe and the failure of the other tribes. It becomes very gamemanship-like. It becomes you're on a playing field. The problem with being on a playing field with politics is that you're playing with people's lives. It's not just about getting a first-place trophy. You're actually playing with people's lives, and everything's a chess move and a chess game. And you're willing to sacrifice moral integrity in order to get a point, and the other team lose a point. And we were kind of sick of that, especially in this town in Hollywood, where we're supposed to be about, well, on paper, we're supposed to be about honest storytelling and seeing all the sides and caring about point of views other than our own. That's what Hollywood, the concept of that was at first, years ago. Slowly but surely, we get to a point where we realize that doesn't actually matter. What only matters is maneuvering yourself. It's being an opportunist. It's bowing down and doing whatever you got to do to make it as a careerist, career first, integrity, morality second. Well, fast forward, here we are. Got through COVID, got through all the Trump derangement syndrome, and now we're experiencing Zionism in full force right here in Hollywood. And it was time to do something about it and start a show. That's why we're doing this show. The Homeless Left. We happen to be left, or that's where we started, was from the left. Now we're here. We're in this space that is open to anybody who's sick of playing this game of tribalism. Anybody who's sick of playing red team versus blue team. If you're sick of the hate and the division being sold to us by the media every single day, people who claim to be journalists, they're really propagandists. They're paid propagandists to defend power, to defend their advertisers, and to punch down. If you're ready to start punching up, And what do I mean by punching up? I mean holding people in power accountable, it doesn't matter if they're red or blue, left, right. The linear way of thinking about politics is over. No more linear putting people in boxes on a line. That's not how it goes anymore. We realize left, right, we realize we have more in common, what they call extreme radical left, radical right. What is so radical? What is so radical about wanting no war? What is so radical about being for labor rights? What is so radical about free speech? What is so radical about bodily autonomy? Oh, you only apply it when your party is agreeable to it. No, we apply it every time. The right to choose. Doesn't matter if it's abortion or it's for what you put in your body. If it's a medical experiment and I don't want that in my body, I have a right to choose. You apply it equally. Anti-war, equally, we apply it. That's it. So once we understand that mindset is non-tribal, you apply principle, you apply consistency, you always go at the world with those things, with those elements, and conviction, which is everything. Then you can get to the bottom of stuff and you can start doing the job that the journalists that call themselves journalists in the mainstream pretend to do. You can start doing that job yourself. And that's what we're doing here. And we do it as a team. That's how we do it. And that's the homeless left. Homeless left is my story. It might be where I personally come from. It might be relatable to you. You might be homeless from somewhere else, from the right, from the middle, from the up, from the down, from all around, upside down. It doesn't matter where you're homeless from. We're all homeless together. Okay. With that said, we'd like to start off Tuesday's show with a little real fake news update. Let's do it. It's time for your real fake news update, not brought to you by Pfizer. Let's see here. What we are witnessing right now in real time is the media colluding with this narrative that on one hand, they're recognizing that maybe there's people starving in Gaza. However, who is responsible for them starving? That's where we can have an honest debate. And we can talk about, is it Hamas that's doing it? And Israel and the U.S. are trying so hard. They're trying so desperately hard to get aid to the very people who they're murdering, that we're paying for, that Israel is annihilating. And they've been going at this genocide for month after month after month after month. And yet the media, if you turn on CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News, you're going to get these quote unquote debates, little roundtables where they have to have this conversation to waste airtime, making you think that there's an honest discussion going on about how to interpret it. Because as you guys know, the Zionist attitude, the Zionist claim is that it's just so complicated. It's really complicated. And it's hard to fully understand. And don't listen to all the Hamas propaganda. Well, let's listen to a little roundtable, but it's actually more of a one-on-one that occurred on CNN with this, I guess you would say, TV personality. Her name is Brooke Goldstein. Let's see CNN let her loose and the pushback she gets on this roundtable show on CNN. This happened last night. Here we go.
Look, whether it happens or not, frankly, the truth is Israel should have never left Gaza, because before 2005, we did not have a terrorist state. We had a booming economy. We had equality for the sexes. We didn't have gays being thrown off rooftops. But when Israel dragged every last man, woman, and child out of Gaza and exhumed the dead bodies because they knew what Hamas would do with it, We had a terror state, and that's a big mistake, and the world is yet to admit that. And the real question is, why is the world preventing Gazans from leaving Gaza? Why are they insisting that they remain as human hostages for Hamas and as civilian human shields? And the third point really is, are they refugees or are they not refugees? Because if Gazans are Palestinian refugees, then Gaza is not their home and they should be relocated so that they are not used by Hamas as human shields. If Gaza is their home, then the entire premise upon which the whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict is based and the right of...
Okay, she's about to get some pushback, which is good, but just make no mistake. CNN is deliberately letting her on here. This isn't we didn't know she was going to, run her mouth for minutes on end. No, that's the point. That's supposed to put inside your mind that there is this honest discussion happening. But no, of course, she should get pushback, and she will from this journalist. I guess we can call him a journalist in this regard. Let's see how that goes.
Return is false. The only people being deliberately starved in Gaza are the hostages right now. You look at Evitar David. He looks like a concentration camp survivor who was forced to dig his own grave. When the body of Eden Yerushalmi, after she was murdered, was returned, she was 70 pounds. Contrast that to the pictures, these, I'll say, artistic pictures of children, most of them with diseases.
And also, really, Brooke?
Yes, really.
I mean,
yes,
really,
you're propaganda
saying,
pictures of these children. You never see pictures of adults. And famine is not selective, Peter. You can't have a child who's starving and then the mother is overweight or the brother is fully fed.
The picture of Evitar David was horrifying. Are we really debating whether people are starving in Gaza?
No, we're debating who is responsible. No, but because
it sounds like you're saying that these are made-up pictures.
Who is responsible
for
any food shortages
Okay, so let's
in Gaza.
Acknowledge that there are people starving in Gaza.
Is Hamas responsible?
Why don't you?
Is Hamas
I think you should let me finish
because you spoke the way that you let me finish last time.
So this is how it works, right? They throw out these little digs about the dishonest reporting and the propaganda about the fact that they're not even starving. Because she's not saying they're not starving. So when he pushes back and says, just acknowledge they're starving, she's going to change the subject to, well, you have to acknowledge that that Hamas is the one that's causing the starving. So then why would you even start your thesis of that there's no starvation if you're going to end at the point of Hamas is causing it? But this is how you debate if you're not going for truth, but you're going for a win. And there's a difference. You guys understand that we've been in this psychology with Zionists. We've been debating them for the last 2 years. We've learned that they go in a different with a different intent than we go in. You go in, we go in with an intent to be I would say correct or accurate or right. And with that, you try to win an argument by being correct and right and accurate, all those things. The opposite of that, as a Zionist mindset, is you're going in just to win. That's it. Win. And winning does not involve at all the element of being right or being correct or being honest or being accurate. It's just winning. How do you do that? You do it like this. But this guy's going to continue pushing back at this. But just watch the maneuvering. She's not trying to be accurate. She's trying to win. There's a difference.
Does Hamas steal the food and use it as a food weapon?
You just spoke for a long time.
Peter,
Let me just say something.
Does Hamas steal food?
The Palestinians in Gaza are indeed refugees. It's true. They are the descendants, most of them, of families that were expelled from Israel in 1948. So if Gaza is not habitable for them, because Israel has destroyed most of the schools, most of the churches, most of the mosques, most of the bakeries, most of the agriculture, most of the universities, then they should be allowed to return to the places from which they're from, which is not Burundi or Somalia or Rwanda. It's Israel. Right? If you want to give them a place to go out of Gaza, allow them to go back to the places from which their families were expelled.
I think you have a problem with cause and effect. You like to blame Israel for everything. Israel did not destroy their hospitals, destroy their schools.
No.
Okay, now those are lies, and everybody knows they're lies. But it's just fun for her to say. It's just fun to say lies because it sounds good and may help you get to that winning destination.
Schools and the hospitals that I've been to have been used as places for rocket depots, and most of those hospitals are used as Hamas for their headquarters. Hamas is responsible when you have your headquarters under a hospital, and you shoot rockets into a civilian
where is Israel's
population,
military headquarters located?
And you shoot.
I have a question. Where is Israel, the Kuria? Where is Israel's military locators headquarters? Is it in a remote area?
Israel has military
No, answer the question.
everywhere.
Where is Israel?
Targets.
No.
Are they
Brooke, you didn't answer my question. Where is Israel's military? It is in downtown Tel Aviv. So let me say that.
They have a headquarters in Tel Aviv.
You got to let me finish. Israel's military headquarters is in downtown Tel Aviv, right? Many of the apartment buildings in Tel Aviv house Israeli generals. Under international law, you don't have the right to destroy the schools around Israel's military headquarters or to
Israel
destroy.
does
No, let me
not
finish.
shoot rockets from downtown Tel Aviv into civilian populations.
Israel
in
has
Gaza.
its military infrastructure deeply embedded within the civilian infrastructure as well. And in international law, it would be a war crime to destroy a hospital or an apartment building in Tel Aviv because an Israeli general is there. Similarly, it is a violation of international law to destroy a hospital or university or school in Gaza.
She's like smirking. She's smirking right there. Everybody knows that Israel has destroyed every single hospital and every single school in Gaza. Every one of them. And they use the complaint, they use this excuse that of using, Hamas is using civilians as human shields. So the hell what if they are? Which they're not, but if they are, that's not how you combat that. That's not how we handle hostage situations. It never has been. We would never blow up a school here on our own soil if terrorists were holding children hostage at a school right here in the States. We would never do that. Everyone knows that. So making this argument and her smirking, it makes no sense. But again, this whole thing is one big distraction. I'm saying like CNN's audience could very well be thinking the things that we're saying on the show, but they're still watching the show. They're still tuned into CNN because they think that this is an honest discussion and an honest debate. It's not an honest discussion. It's not an honest debate. This woman being on the show is designed to distract you about what we should be arguing about when we're not. That's not what we should be arguing about. Notice this entire 5 minutes have gone by and nobody's talking about that the U.S. is funding the genocide. That's what we should be talking about. We're writing the check. We're sending bombs. We're sending weapons. Everybody in Congress is voting for those weapons, including AOC. That's what we should be talking about, but it's not. How does this end? Let's see.
Just because you believe that there are Hamas...
It is a violation of international law to use civilians as human shields. Can we agree on that?
Yes, and that is...
And do you support the temporary relocation of Gazans so that they're not used as human...
No, God forbid I do not. I don't want Palestinians expelled again. The Palestinians were expelled in 1948. You want to expel them again?
No.
That's a war crime, bro.
That's not what I said.
Hang on one sec.
Temporary. You think Israel's going to allow them back if they leave? Come on.
All right. I want to bring others into this discussion. If you want to be...
Okay. So again, this is all by design, make you think that this is the argument when it's not. That's not the discussion we should be having right now. But let's look just at who this person is real quick. If you go to her Twitter, this is Brooke Goldstein. She's got a book coming out on Amazon. You can pre-order it right now. It's called End Jew Hatred, which, wow, I mean, that seems to be, if there's a topic that we really need to be concerned about right now, it's Jew hatred. Let me guess what's not in that book as far as if it's a manual for ending Jew hatred, like it says, a manual for mobilization. So it's not, I don't even know what she means by mobilization. Does it mean F you, if you hate Jews, we're going to make you hate them more? What is mobilization? Do you have in the manual, do you have something about how we stop Jew hatred? Any critique of Israel's war crimes and crimes against humanity, which might get people concerned and people pissed off? Probably not. I can, it's safe to say there's no discussion in that book about why people are angry right now at Israel. And to be clear, it's not at Jews, it's at Israel. She knows that, but she doesn't care. She's trying to make money off of that. So just watch out for this person, Brooke Goldstein. And again, one more time, if it hasn't been made clear to you yet, CNN is complicit in all of this. By putting Brooke Goldstein on their panel, they intentionally sign up for this distraction. It's a manufactured distraction. That's what it is. Here's what is really going on. Al Jazeera will tell you this. Israel forces continue their attacks across Gaza, killing dozens of Palestinians. As Gaza's government media office says, Israel is deliberately blocking more than 22,000 aid trucks from entering the enclave. Well, that's interesting. Why wouldn't that be the first thing that CNN talks about last night during that discussion? No, it's not. Israel kills 74 in Gaza. These are 24/7 updates. So this is an update from last night. This was coming out on Al Jazeera while CNN was having that fake ass discussion. This is a high rate. UN is warning of high rates of child death. So CNN's not going to tell you that part. They're not going to tell you that part. What they're going to do is cut to an interview with Netanyahu the next time he does one. And you can be assured Netanyahu will be coming on ABC. He'll be coming on CNN. He'll be coming on Fox as soon as his schedule lines up, because that's what he does. In the meantime, we're seeing videos from Netanyahu put out like this one, where he's flat out lying, as he does over and over again. Here's Netanyahu, the latest lie from what some still call him Bibi. We call him Satan Yahu. Here he is.
In the Middle Ages, all the massacres against Jews were preceded by horrible vilifications. The lies that were leveled against the Jews spread around the globe. We were poisoning the wells. We were carriers of disease. We slaughtered Christian children in order to drink their blood. And this spread from country to country and created massacre after massacre, culminating in the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust, in which 6 million innocent Jews were led to the slaughter. Today, the Jewish state is facing similar vilifications. They lie about us. They say that we're deliberately starving Palestinian children. That's a barefaced lie. Since the beginning of the war, we have let in almost 2 million tons of food. 2 million tons of food for Palestinian civilians, Palestinian children. That's been our policy.
Letting in the food and then hoarding the food and destroying the food. That's been your policy. And you get shots of the food, which we just saw. That's deliberate. It's all theater. So you can look in the camera and tell us that you're sending in aid just to destroy the aid and pretend that Hamas is keeping it from the people. That is the most devious, most nefariously horrible shit you could do. Literally putting money, effort, and time into bringing food to a particular area that nobody can get to, and then you destroy that food. Before you destroy it, you do a shot of it, a moving shot, and you put that up on a video and you show people that, no, we're trying to get them food. No, you're not. You're blocking it at every turn. You're blocking it at every turn. But no, go ahead. Keep telling us how great you are and how the problem is that people just hate Jews. That's the problem. And you just keep getting vilified for no reason.
But in the last few months, this humanitarian aid has been interdicted by Hamas looting.
Oh.
They steal the food from their own people.
No, they don't. That is a lie. You're hoarding the food. You sick son of a bitch. You're hoarding the food.
But in the last few months, that food has not been reaching the Palestinian civilians because Hamas is stealing it. So we've decided to go around it. I've authorized the Israeli Air Force to airdrop humanitarian food and medical supplies to Palestinian civilians. We invited other countries to join these airdrops, and many have.
So again, more staged theater to make it look like you're trying to help. Why would you be trying to help when everybody in Israel will tell you that you want to starve the people to death. They want them to die. Why would you want what? It doesn't actually make any sense. Why can't you just be honest? Why can't you just be honest and tell us that you're trying to get rid of Hamas and babies will grow up and be Hamas? So you got to stop them from doing that. That's what they're very honest in Israel. But you get on and do this deflection, this Western narrative to pretend to the Western audience that you're doing something about it. When everybody back home, I'll say home in quotations, Satan Yahoo, they think that you're being weak and soft when you do these things. But you got to tell them, oh, no, I'm doing that to appease the audience of the West. And then they think, because CNN will tell us that Israelis don't know what's going on. They've been censored with this information. They don't know that people are dying right a mile from their house that they stole, by the way. They don't know. No, they don't. They know very well. Israelis know very well what's happening, and they think overwhelmingly that Netanyahu is being way too soft here. But again, he's being soft because it's part of the political maneuvering game. Have to be soft. Have to get these aerial images. These images of food that's not getting to the place it needs to get. You know how we know? Because every time there's an aid rescue mission, a flotilla mission, you ransack that, you hijack it. You just hijacked Chris Smalls and took him into custody and beat him and tortured him before you released him, who was on a flotilla trying to bring aid. So don't tell us that you're giving the order, Netanyahu, you're sending aid in to the very people you're trying to wipe out. It actually doesn't make any sense. And I think that's why a lot of the public in Israel are confused by your softness. They're confused by your softness. So what's the next thing that happened? Well, we found this out from Max Blumenthal, that the Israeli embassy has now paid for these ads to run in Times Square. So if you're in New York right now and you look up at the at the main intersection, right where they have all the running electronic billboards, if you look right up, you're going to see this up in your face, which is to send the message that Israel and the U.S. are the good guys and Hamas are the bad guys. Ignored by the media, too busy echoing Hamas propaganda. All of that are lies. That's not any. And again, this is paid for by the Israeli embassy. The Israeli embassy pays to put words on a screen, whatever they want to put on that screen. So this, in a sense, is the propaganda telling you not to listen to other propaganda. But make no mistake, it's CNN the whole time that's been in on this, making you think there's some sort of debate going on when their job is to distract you from the fact that we have been funding this the whole time. We have. So it's not whether or not they're starving or not, whether or not Hamas is blocking aid or not. Those are open and shut cases. Those are not up for debate. But again, their job is to pretend that that's the debate we need to be having. And that's a distraction on purpose. So the Al Jazeera report is accurate. Israel stealing food, that's accurate. We get videos like this sent to us all the time. This is just one example of Israel being complicit in what we already reported to you guys. They hoard the food. This is them hoarding it and destroying it right in front of our faces.
תראו, חבר'ה פה, לא מפחדים, בחורות, בחורים, איזה יופי. נותנים את המשאיות של החמאס, מקסימה,
There you go. There you go. So that's what they've been doing. And when you have any pushback, like we saw, and we reported on this last week, guys, we didn't have the correct name because we just didn't have the name of the guy, but he was a U.S. soldier, a Gaza whistleblower who's been there to see it for himself, an actual U.S. soldier, former soldier in Gaza. His name is Anthony Aguilar, and he has been on several shows now, from Tucker to Crystal and Sagar to Democracy Now. He's been making the rounds, telling his story of what he witnessed, and we featured one of his stories last week where he talked about a boy that he gave aid to who said thank you in English and then was moments later murdered on purpose by the IDF, who he witnessed. So he witnessed this boy's death in real time. This is just one more example of one of the things he's whistleblowing. But the reason why this is important, and it's part of the real fake news, is you can guarantee, rest assured, that there is a campaign that was launched against Anthony Aguilar. And we're going to this is just one of his explanations about creative ways he was able to try and get food in there. And one idea came up was ordering pizzas, because if you pretend to order pizzas for the IDF, they might actually get those pizzas in to Gaza, where they are not letting any other aid in. So here's him explaining that.
Make 27 pizzas. And so we had the idea of calling Domino's Pizza in Beersheba and having them make 27 pizzas and deliver them through Volt, which is the Israeli DoorDash, to the main operations center in Karim Shalom. We then took those 27 pizzas in an armored convoy and drove them to Secure Distribution Site 1 and gave those pizzas to the Palestinian local workers.
So let me get this straight. Safe Reach Solutions was able to bring Domino's Pizza in when the entire population of Gaza is starving, and there are aid trucks, UN aid trucks, that are unable to enter Gaza and not allowed to distribute aid while people are starving. But SRS was able to bring in Domino's Pizza to one of their sites.
Correct. And it's abhorrent. If it weren't so tragic, it would be comedy.
If it weren't so tragic, it would be comedy. You want to see what happened to this guy since he made his rounds? Here's what's happened. And this is the same money, the same funding to buying billboards, buying our congressmen, putting legislation in motion like the Stop Hate Act, pushing Trump to do, we're going to get to that story later, cutting FEMA aid off for any institution, any state, any city that is actively boycotting Israel. So all of that funding also goes into smearing people like this whistleblower, Anthony Aguilar. Here is the smear that happened to him. This made its rounds with all the Zionist community on Twitter and other platforms, trying to pretend that, oh, look at this, assault on a female. There it is. Well, now he's discredited. Look what they found up on him. So they found something in his past, and now they got him. So nothing he said is truthful anymore because he has this on his record. So that does it. Don't listen to what Anthony Aguilar has to say anymore. Oh, wait a minute. Did they actually find this? Apparently, no, they didn't find it. They couldn't find anything on him, so they had to make it up. It's no joke. They made this up. Here is Mel, who did some work on this, did some of her own investigative reporting on it, did your own research. Did you there, Mel? Just took a trip down to my county courthouse to check out this supposed arrest record for myself. I knew something wasn't right for a multitude of reasons. One, the zip code on that address is a Fort Bragg zip code and not a Sanford one. Oh, interesting. Let's take that look. Sanford, not Fort Bragg. Interesting. So they got the wrong city. What else, Mel? Number 2, Duke Lane doesn't exist. How funny. Maybe it's a typo. Well, why would there be a typo in an actual record that would be pulled up by the police? Why would there be why would they just make up the name of a street that didn't exist? That's weird. Okay, number 3. Arrest notices use the full docket number. The one in that picture is missing the last 3 numbers. Oh, there it is. There's apparently after the 702 on docket number, there are 3 numbers missing. So good work on that. Again, this is just one example of the amount of effort, time, money, and just all around that is put into smearing whistleblowers and pushing propaganda because, like we said earlier, the number one objective of the Zionist argument is to win. It's not to be right. It's to win. And if you can make your own rules about how to win, then you can do that. And this is one way to do that, is to literally make up an arrest record on a guy so you won't listen to him, even if that arrest record was true. Isn't that interesting that that's enough? They think that's enough to say his story about the pizzas, his story about the boy being shot, that's all of a sudden not true because you have an arrest record? Interesting, right? That according to them, that should be enough. But they had to make that part up too, on top of it, thinking that that's going to discredit the story. Rather than trying to actually figure out if the story is wrong, which it's not, you can't challenge a story, so you got to challenge the messenger. It's called kill the messenger. That's what you do when you can't challenge the thing that the messenger is telling you. You challenge the messenger, and then you find something about that person. If you can't find something, you make something up. This is how you win. This is how you win. So you guys also heard that Trump, and then this is part of the spin that we saw over the last couple weeks. Trump admitting that there is starvation in Gaza. There is starvation. Oh, it's sad. It's sad. Will he call it a genocide? Hell no, he won't call it a genocide. Well, let's hear what he says when asked about it and what you're going to do about the people starving.
An update to give us on Gaza, on the Gaza Strip. Can you give us any?
Only we want the people fed. And we're the only country that's really doing that. We're putting up money to get the people fed. And Steve Witkoff is doing a great job. And we want Israel to get them fed. We're giving some pretty big contributions, basically to purchase food so the people can be fed. We don't want people going hungry, and we don't want people to starve. And there's some bad things happening.
Do they see evidence of a genocide in Gaza?
I don't think it's sad. Look, they're in a war. Some horrible things happened on October 7th, as you know. It was a horrible, horrible thing. One of the worst I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of bad things since I'm president in terms of wars and potential wars. I mean, if you look at the one that we just stopped, there are thousands of people being dead already at the border between Thailand and Cambodia. Thousands of people. And I mean, I've seen some bad things, but that October 7th with Hamas was really, really bad.
So, Trump, let's get them fed, right? Let's get them fed. How is that going? Oh, look, Trump's new aide just arrived, ready to give them. What aid did you send, Trump? What aid? Oh no.
הולך ליפול בקרוב מאוד, היום, מחר, על עזה. כל זה.
Oh no. Do you think maybe there's food inside the bombs? Maybe that's what he meant. Maybe the bombs is the way to get it directly to them, so you can just kind of shoot the bombs, and then when they explode, all the aid pops out like a piñata. Like a piñata. That's that might be what it. That's it. I don't want to. I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge. That's probably what it is. There's innovative ways you can do that these days. Get from point A to point B. What's the quickest way? Probably a missile. That's the quickest way to get from point A to point B. There's no quicker way, right? A missile. So put the aid in the missile. So then when you shoot the missile, the aid will pop out and everybody will be fed like a piñata. Although actually everybody will probably turn into a piñata or the aftermath of a piñata. But hey, at least you got the aid there. With that, historical context matters too, guys. I wanted to throw this in too before we end the real fake news. It's a big one for you guys today, but this one's important. Did you know, according to Dr. Simon Goddick, who's been on point on this genocide from the beginning, we appreciate you, doctor. Did you know that in 2021, the UN wanted to recognize food as a human right? Only 2 countries opposed it. Spoiler alert. Now you guys know it's 2. It's not just because he wrote it there. No, we know what 2 opposed it. It was the US and Israel. Of course it was. And there you go. This was a right. Make food a right. This was the vote. This was a real vote that happened. And there's your 2 countries, 1 and 2, who said no. There were 5 who didn't vote, but only 2 that said no. 186 countries said yes. Those are the ones in green. And there you go. This is, again, what the media won't tell you. They're not going to report on that part. They're not going to give you historical context at all. Here's what they will give you. And I got to bring it back to CNN, guys. I got to show you that that woman is not a fluke. The one you saw earlier. She's not a fluke. This is the type of conversations they have all the time. And I'm still supposed to believe that CNN is the neutral channel. There's nothing neutral about this garbage.
Things with their own eyes. And what they're seeing is massive amounts of propaganda. Look what the New York Times had to admit to just in the last few days. I've heard
What did the New York Times
they
admit?
Running a photo that was a complete and total hoax.
They admitted that they ran a photo of a starving child who also had a disease.
You're gonna defend
Is that
this?
the admission?
It's
Scott,
a
you're gonna
hoax.
act like people
and
aren't
it was
starving?
sent around the world
Okay.
to make people
Scott,
think that Israel
what
had
about
starved that
all
child. He had a
what
pre-existing
what
condition.
about all the other children in that story? What about them? Are they a hoax?
Abby,
Don't,
there is a
no, no, no,
there is
don't,
a
Abby,
there is a
don't, no.
Abby,
Okay.
there
Don't-
is a
don't do
coordinated
that,
propaganda
Scott.
campaign
Don't do
right
that,
now
Scott.
to paint
Are all
a distorted
of those
picture of what's happening.
Are all of those other children a hoax?
Some of them are. There have been other stories
all
about
of those
children
other children
that
a
Israel's
hoax?
actually paying
There
to
have
have
been
taken care of for their pre-existing conditions.
25
Even
people
President Trump has
died of
admitted there is
starvation.
starvation in Gaza.
and on top of
Scott,
that,
hang on a second. You just claimed that this whole thing
They
was
ran a
hoax.
correction. They ran a correction.
What you claimed was that all of these young people, not just young people, but everybody in the world, the photos that they're seeing, the stories that they're reading, the first-person accounts are a hoax? Are they a hoax?
I'm saying that the photo that the New York Times ran and then ran a correction on is a part of a propaganda campaign that is occurring right now.
I do not agree with you on the New York Times photo, but let's say that one was wrong. They ran a correction. Fine. What about all of the other children?
Sure.
What about all of the other
hoaxes?
So when you say that this is a hoax, Scott, no, Scott, I'm putting a stop to the talking points. Okay, that's what I'm doing here.
Are you?
Because I'm talking about human beings.
When are we going to put a stop to the propaganda?
Listen, we've said it before on this show. We are talking about real things here, not talking points. Leave the talking points at the door.
So again, if it needs to be said one more time, Scott Jennings is a regular CNN contributor. He's on the show all the time. He is he's a staple in CNN. This conversation is by design supposed to distract you. And while she sticks it to him, it's taking up airtime and taking up your brain power if you're watching this crap to make you think that this is a legitimate debate. It is not a legitimate debate. Period. And we wonder if Trump regrets signing up for a second term with this garbage going on this time. This wasn't as I don't know, say it wasn't as bad the first time around, but you didn't have these massive warmongering operations going on all over the world. They were going on, but not at this level, not at this public awareness level. Not just Ukraine, clearly all over the Middle East, what Israel is doing right now, that we're funding every bit of it, not just in Gaza, not just Palestine, We're talking about Lebanon. We're talking about Yemen. We're talking about Syria, taking over Syria in 11 days. We're talking about pushing Iran into a nuclear war, not to mention China, and not to mention the ongoing proxy war in Ukraine against Russia. And then with Palantir now being at the forefront of the money being spent in this big, beautiful bill will be going to Palantir to continue the destruction and the military occupation and annihilation and this three-pronged war that Alex Karp talks about. Did Trump, does he regret signing up for this right now? Well, we saw this last shot here. This just came out right before we went live, and I wanted you guys to see this because this kind of just says it all. Here's Trump going on top of the White House for some odd reason, taking a look. I guess he's taking a look around. Very, very odd, and reporters caught him. Here he is.
President, what are you doing up there?
Come down and talk to us.
What are you building?
Are you considering more renovations, sir?
Are you going to build up?
Hi, sir.
Clearly off script, clearly not planned. His people are up there trying to get him to come down. I watched this and I thought, you know what? Kind of reminds me of Nixon. I don't know if you guys know the old story about Nixon, and we'll end the segment with this, but Nixon, there was this story that he snuck out in the middle of the night to go to the Lincoln Memorial, this during the Vietnam War. And Nixon went to the Vietnam Memorial to kind of be away from all of because he's in this bubble. He's got all these security around him. He went into office to end the Vietnam War. That's what he ran on. Very similar to Trump running on ending the Ukraine war. Nixon said, I will end this. He basically he was the original 24-hour president. I will end this right away. I don't think he said 24 hours, but he said, you elect me, we will end the Vietnam War. He realized he couldn't. He can't do it. He was having panic attacks about it because he didn't have the power he thought he was going to have. He was obsessed with power. He finally got the power. He couldn't do anything. He goes out to the Lincoln Memorial, and then there's these protesters there that are sleeping there overnight. They're just there. The anti-war group, which and they were Democrats. We don't have any of those now. We don't have real protesters. Well, there are some. I have to say, obviously, Palestine protesters, but really protesting the entire system, all of the wars, not just Palestine, but Ukraine, all of them. We don't really have a group that is against all of them, just maybe the one that benefits them. But with that said, he snuck out to kind of get a look and get away from it for just a moment. And then he was caught. The reporters found him. The security staff found him, and they said, we have to go back in. And the legend goes that one of the protesters said to Nixon before his security, his Secret Service let him back into the White House. They asked this one young girl asks him, Mr. President, why don't you just end it? And he says, I can't. And they say, come here with us, Mr. President. We got to get you back inside. So that's an old legend, an old tale. We're not sure if it's true or not. But this shot of Trump on the ledge here kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Maybe there's nothing to it. Maybe it was a little publicity stunt. And maybe the thing with Nixon never really happened either. But there is something to be said about a president in over his head, not able to do anything that they campaigned on. And we're just wondering, do you feel bad about it? Or do you understand that there is something tragic about that? There's something tragic about putting your entire effort, your entire career, everything, blood, sweat, and tears into winning the office of the president of the United States. And at the end of the day, you get there, you can't actually do anything, even if you wanted to. It's a sad reality. And here we are, Trump on the roof of the White House saying, just trying to take a look around. I'm just trying to take a look around. There it is. And again, the media is not going to report on this accurately. They were laughing. They were laughing at asking him those questions. I don't think it's funny. I think it's kind of sad. Okay, that is your real fake news update, not brought to you by Pfizer. Okay. I think we're gonna do a little, and I appreciate your guys' engagement. Very awesome. Very, very awesome. So far, so good. We're doing the solo show. If you guys are just joining us, the Homeless Left, a non-tribal approach to news. We've been doing this for many, many months, many moons. And this is our first time. If you guys happen to stumble on us today, this is our first time going solo. It's more of an intimate show today with you guys. So appreciate it. We're an hour in. We got 2 more hours for you. You can always go back and watch our live feeds. We never take them down on Rumble. They're up there all the time. You can go watch them in their raw form, which is fun to do. And we have pride in the fact that we've never taken one of them down. They're all there, all 128 episodes, all available on Rumble for you to see the live original showing, raw, unapologetic. That's how we keep it here. But you also can go and watch our segments that we upload after the fact. So you can share those segments out if it's a topic you appreciate or like, or you want to engage with other people with that topic and you want to do it in a shorter time, like a 10-minute to 20-minute amount of time versus a 3-hour, 4-hour time frame. Those options are available to you guys too. And we also put those segments up on our YouTube channel as well. THL Presents. So thank you guys for all that. Let's get into our next story. We're going to go do the FEMA story here. Just let me set this up real quick. On my own here today, guys. So just give me a second. We are doing the Trump FEMA story, which we found out about yesterday. Here we go. I think we're ready for this. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Well, right on schedule. Trump continues pushing the censorship industrial complex, the exact thing he campaigned against. He campaigned for free speech. He campaigned for let's stop canceling people for speaking their mind, the medical freedom movement, any Ukraine critique. We want to give people a chance to speak. Censorship should be challenged and should be fought against no matter what your political ideology. Well, all that went out the window. And we're seeing examples of it time and time again. And yet another one came to mind. And this is Trump, who's now pulling FEMA aid for states boycotting Israel. It's a punishment. We're not going to help you during disaster time if you are outright boycotting Israel, which we're going to consider it a crime that you do that. So we're going to punish you accordingly. Here's the story. The Trump administration links $1.9 billion federal disaster funding to Israel boycott stance. So they've done the math and they realize we can actually stop $1.9 billion total of disaster funding based on the states that are actively boycotting Israel. This new condition was also applies to terrorism prevention funds for a major city, is the latest use of federal funds for a political message. The Trump administration said states and cities will not receive funding to prepare for natural disasters if they choose to boycott Israel companies, according to an agency statement. And if you guys know very well that the Free Palestine movement and the college campus protests have been all about those demands, that it's not just whining and shouting, there's actual demands. And if you guys know anything about running a successful protest or a legitimate, serious protest, you have to have demands. If you don't have demands, you're just yelling and screaming. This is how the labor movement protests work. You make demands on your company, say, we're not coming back to work until you do these things. So Free Palestine, if you guys didn't know this, there is demands. And one of those demands is no more funding Israeli companies. That's what the message was at all the universities, Washington State, UCLA, all of them, Columbia, New York, all of these in Texas, all of these protests have been about stopping Israel companies funding from those colleges. So the states and the cities who are also on board for stopping the funding, which is called defunding, divesting, will be punished accordingly. States must certify that they will not cut off commercial relations, specifically with Israeli companies, not any other foreign companies, just Israeli. Just to be absolutely perfectly fucking clear, it's Israel. That's the only one. You have to be 100% certified in blood, sign on the dotted line. If you want your FEMA money, you have to attest, put your hand on the Bible, swear on your mother's grave, you will not cut off commercial relationships, specifically with Israeli companies, to receive the money from Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, according to the agency's terms for grantees. Hustle Bitch tweets out, Trump admin now requires states to back Israel or lose disaster aid. FEMA just tied $1.9 billion in federal relief to a loyalty cause. States that boycott Israeli companies won't get funding. Homeland Security confirmed no support if you oppose Israel, the genocidal lunatic state, occupying state, apartheid state, ethno state, who is participating in ethnic cleansing, not just participating, pushing it, actively doing it, and we're actively funding it. Hustle Bitch follows up with, what do you think? Should disaster aid depend on your stance on Israel? Hell fucking no. How is that even a question? But of course, you got to ask it and see what kind of people chime in, as if that's even a debate, as if that's not 100% a direct violation of the First Amendment, a direct violation of our constitutional rights, not to mention our entire capitalist system, which should be about companies should be able to do, and states should be able to make their own choices. It's a state-run. This should not be a federal order. The states can decide what they want to fund and what they don't want to fund in order to get federal funding. This just should be a no-brainer. 100% a no-brainer. Maze Love. Actually, we're trying to get Maze on the show. She's awesome. Jay Scott is working on that right now. We hope to have Maze Love on the show. She's great, does great work. This is not America first. Trump is withholding disaster relief for Americans unless cities pledge not to boycott Israel. The $1.9 billion FEMA funds now comes with a foreign loyalty clause. This is not strength, it's betrayal, it's overreach, and it proves once and for all that his reputation is beyond repair. No president who puts another nation's interests above his own people deserves to lead. Well said, Maze Love. The propaganda is out of control. The fact that there are actually Zionists and Zionist sympathizers who continue to believe that the problem is boycotting Israel, that the problem is having a critique on Israel, that Free Palestine, again, that's part of the Free Palestine movement. It's the demands. You wouldn't know that if you just watch CNN and Fox and MSNBC all day. You wouldn't know what the demands were. You wouldn't know that it was all about divesting in Israel companies. That's how you stop a genocide. That's how you stop an apartheid state. That's how South Africa was stopped. If you didn't know, we got U.S. to turn from calling Nelson Mandela a terrorist to celebrating him. How did we do that? We forced U.S. companies to stop investing in South African companies that were tied to the apartheid state. Once we forced that, and by we, I mean the people revolted. It took years and years and years and years of college kids in the streets. Years. It was an ongoing battle. It took like, I wouldn't say generations, but it took a couple decades for it to happen. And it was about divestment. That was the number one way you can get an empire to change sides. It's not a moral compass. It's not are you losing too much sleep over this? No, it's a bottom line. If you can force the divestment, you can force the opinion of the government to change. The news won't tell you that part. They're going to tell you Free Palestine means something else. Where are they getting that from? Why would the news tell us that Free Palestine means kill all the Jews? Where's that coming from? Oh, Matt, they're not actually saying that. Oh, certainly they are. They're certainly suggesting it. They're making us have to constantly defend what Free Palestine means. While these laws are being passed, while states are losing aid, the media is still telling you this garbage. Where are they getting that from? Maybe they're getting it directly from the horse's mouth. Netanyahu, explain to us, Netanyahu, how Free Palestine means kill all the Jews. Tell us, because I'm confused. I thought it was something else, but I need to know why I'm in the street, and I need to know if my Free Palestine hat actually means kill all the Jews. Correct? Please educate me, Netanyahu, the great one.
Know this. The protesters themselves, many of them don't even know what they're chanting. When they're chanting Free Palestine, they're saying, really, destroy Israel, destroy the Jews. It's the modern equivalent of Heil Hitler. That's what it says. When they say from the river to the sea is a few kilometers here, and the river is a few kilometers there. It means the end of Israel.
I mean, you're effing kidding me. It's not. Don't listen to what they're saying. Here's what they mean. Don't look at the actions they're doing. Here's what they mean to do. That's their entire argument. Where on the other side, it's look exactly what they're saying. Look exactly what they're doing. Isn't that bizarre that we're in the middle of this conflict? That we're in the middle of this war. What I wouldn't want to call it a war. It's not a war. Well, it's a war on censorship. It's a war on narrative control. That part is a war. But it's not a war in the sense that it's Gaza, it's a Hamas and Israel war. No, it's an annihilation, one people controlling another people. And then you telling me this garbage that one side means something that they're not actually saying. And they mean to do actions that they're not actually doing. So it's feelings. You're selling us on feelings, not on what's actually being said and what's actually being done. With the other side, the side for humanity, all they have to do is play back the tape. We can show the actions. We can show you what is being said, what is actually being said. But continue. But continue. Tell us what Free Palestine mean. It means to kill all the Jews. That's what they mean. Well, why don't they just say it? Why not just say what you mean and do the thing that you mean to do? Oh, Palestinians, they mean to kill all Israelis. Well, why? Well, they haven't done that. Well, they mean to do it. And so their words that they're saying don't actually mean those things. They mean something else. Okay.
That's what they're chanting. So they bought the demonization. They bought the vilification of the one democracy that is fighting a just war with just means. And here's what happens when this spreads and it goes to the ICC. The ICC, the court that was supposed to establish really after the Holocaust in order to prevent another Holocaust. And the ICC declares that I and former defense minister, effectively the state of Israel, they'll issue more decrees. We're the war criminals. What does it say to democracies? What does it say to free societies? It imperils your right of self-defense. It means that this tactic of implanting yourself in a civilian population while sending rockets and murderers to murder civilians, as you hide behind your own civilians, you are given effective immunity. And once this idea is implanted, it will spread and spread and spread. And spread to your own societies. So for the future of civilization, we can't have that.
There it is. So just if you're confused about what you're watching in the street, if you're confused about all the videos you're seeing, if you're confused about the messaging, just let Netanyahu explain to you what's really being said, even though it's not being said. And then that'll help guide your opinion about things. Or we can listen to exactly what is being said by Israelis. That might be an idea. Why don't we listen to that? There's so many opportunities to. Why don't we take this opportunity to listen to the #1 podcast in Israel? The #1 podcast. Do you guys know what that is? It's called Two Nice Jewish Boys. Two Nice Jewish Boys. They're actually going to tell us how Israelis really think about Palestinians. They're not going to tell us what they mean by when they say something else. They're going to tell us what's actually being said. For real, like actual words, and it's going to come from their own mouths. #1 podcast in Israel. Go ahead. Take it away. 2 nice Jewish boys.
To appease the...
It's because we're looking for international legitimacy. No one actually gives a shit. 0 people in Israel, if you go up to them and you're like, do you care if this baby in Gaza gets polio? They'll be like, I don't fucking just
Yariv Oppenheimer would care.
Yeah, okay. There'll be like 20 people who care, and they're all wearing Meretz shirts. Like, fuck them. But seriously, nobody would give a shit. They'd be like, leave me alone, man. I'm trying to like buy
Eat ice
shit
cream
for Shabbat. Like, fuck off. I don't care about this Gazan kid with polio.
Also, as long as they're in their Nakba state in their tents, you know, and we're living still, like, you know, if you put aside the news, day to day is okay. Yesterday we went to a concert in Erkon Park. We had lots of fun, me and my girlfriend. Shalom Chanoch. We danced, and it was amazing. And you can't help but think, like, it's nice to know that you're dancing in a concert while hundreds of thousands of Gazans are, you know,
homeless,
like sitting in a tent and eating.
Makes it even better.
Yeah,
more enjoyable concert. If only they put the
live video
footage of Gaza. Like, but seriously, you guys like.
But seriously, no, you are being serious. That's how you. That's the sentiment, and our media is going to continue to lie to us about what Israel's sentiment is. They're going to tell us that they don't know. They're unaware. The Israel media keeps it from them, and that Haaretz is the only outlet that is somewhat honest with them, but nobody reads that because it's too radical left. That's what CNN literally reports on. That's what they tell us. No, Israel knows exactly what's going on. They think it's funny. Ha ha ha, podcasters. #1 podcast. #1 in Israel. They think it's funny that the starvation and the agony and the pain and the torture and the annihilation of human beings, they think it's funny, and they want to see live footage of their suffering and their deaths. They think it's funny. But no, please explain. In all seriousness, what?
That's what people don't understand. Look, like, I know that you guys might be appalled by this, some of the listeners, but seriously, this is how Israelis feel. And you might think that Eitan Weinstein and Naor, who like refuses to kind of back me up on it publicly.
I'm from the UN.
Yeah, he's the UN. But you might think I'm extreme. But I have conversations with lots of people, coworkers, friends. People enjoy knowing that they are suffering.
No, also it's very prominent on Twitter.
They enjoy to know that they're suffering. They enjoy to know that they're suffering. And this is the name of the podcast, 2 Nice Jewish Boys. 2 Nice Jewish Boys. I would hate to see the podcast of 2 not so nice Jewish boys if this is what nice qualifies as. Insane. Totally insane. Okay, well, that's why we're here. And that's why Trump can do this. There's a shot from the Wailing Wall, and there's a shot of what a disaster situation might look like. And Trump preemptively saying, we're not going to help you if you support stopping funding of this genocide of the country that you're challenging. You're not allowed to do that, or you don't get relief. And there's Trump, his little yarmulke, having his little intense, dramatic, emotional moment on that Wailing Wall, which every president and every elected official is required to do. Let that sink in. That's a requirement. It's not voluntary. It's a requirement. And here we are. Okay. Let's reset, and I think it's time to do the Tucker story, Laura Loomer. Yeah, let's get let's get this one queued up. I think we're queued up. And I appreciate all you guys' chiming in on the show. We've put up a couple of the comments up already, but we'll definitely be getting to most of them during Talking Back. We'll be getting to that soon. A couple more stories, and then we'll get to some Talking Back. Yeah, this is our intimate one-on-one show with you guys today. First time we're doing it. First time. Our co-host Craig Pasta, Jay, you guys are used to them coming on Tuesdays, Thursdays. We kind of switched them around. They're both actually coming on with us on Thursday. That's actually happening. So we're very excited. Have Craig Pasta back from his east side studio. If you guys saw, he was actually in our studio here in LA last week. We did 2 back-to-back shows with Craig right here in the Homeless Left LA home studio. But yeah, he'll be back on with us Thursday, and Jay Scott will be back on with us Thursday as well. So we got a big show, and I think we have a few guests we're lining up as well. So Thursday is going to be a great show. We're going to take, I think, a week off after that. So we're gearing up for a really big one on Thursday. But today, I just thought it would be a good opportunity to do a one-on-one with you guys, because we've never, ever done that in 128 episodes. This is the first time that I'm doing the show solo. So I think it's going well so far. And I appreciate all you guys' engagement on this show thus far. We're like barely we're not even halfway through. We're barely halfway through. We got more to do. Okay. I think we're queued up on the next story. Yeah, MAGA infighting. It's a thing. It's been a thing. I think the moment that it became a real thing was the Epstein files not being released on purpose. The lying, the deceiving. Most MAGAs realize that they were deceived. That was the moment. That was the moment of truth when Pam Bondi said with a straight face, there actually are no files. And she followed that up with that Jeffrey Epstein actually killed himself. And then Trump followed that up with, don't believe the hype, because the Democratic Party is out to get you and trick you. And that's why they've been pushing Epstein Gate. As my brother actually suggested, Epstein Gate is something that, we know was never pushed by the Democrats. In fact, the Democrats work to smear anybody asking questions about Epstein and child sex trafficking and the corruption of Washington, D.C., and the corruption of Hollywood, and the corruption of any of world leaders and celebrities all over the world. The Democratic Party worked to silence that story and called it a QAnon story. So Trump looking us in the face, straight-faced, telling us that it was a Democrat hoax. A lot of MAGAs are pissed off. And they're pissed off that it seems that Israel is controlling every move of our current administration. Not only that, it's been controlling every move of every administration ever before that. The whole time. The jig is up. So why are there some MAGAs not understanding that and some that are? Well, we're watching the infighting happen, and none other than this is one of the most prominent peoples that we've seen at each other's throats. It's kind of a one-sided, because I don't think Tucker Carlson has been wasting too much time at all fighting back, but he has been a target for Zionist infiltrators, as Laura Loomer has made herself to be. It's pretty clear at this point. Laura Loomer, well, we'll let you guys judge for yourself. So let's just see and this is actually being reported on several news outlets. Here we go. Laura Loomer reignites fight with quote unquote terrible person Tucker Carlson in string of social media posts. So she just went nuts on her social media. It was pretty crazy. She went all in, not just at Tucker, but she went in at anybody challenging Israel. But Tucker was in her line of fire. Trump loyalist accuses former Fox News anchor of suppressing Hunter Biden's. Suppressing Hunter Biden's story. That's the big problem. Tucker suppressed the Hunter Biden story in 2020. Therefore, don't listen to what he has to say about Israel. That's the play. That's the play. So in the latest exchange of fire after falling out in June over nuclear strikes on Iran. So they had previously had a back and forth, and I think Tucker was more engaged in that back and forth back in June, because Tucker actually sat down with the Iranian president and had a discussion about it and actually talked. So there's a lot of actual reporting and actual journalism going on by Tucker, but Laura Loomer wasn't having it. So here she goes again at trying to run him under the bus, because he has been one of the most vocal MAGAs against not just the Epstein files not coming out, but our Israel policy in general and funding an actual genocide and an ethnic cleansing. It's not a war, it's an ethnic cleansing, as Tucker says. So here's the breakdown from the Independent. Far-right activist Laura Loomer has, yes, this is the headline. This is a string of posts on X. She's been a vocal ally of President Trump. And by the way, so was Tucker at one point. Called on the former Fox News host to a terrible person and a fraud. We're posting an article from the Independent that quotes Carlson calling her a child wielding a loaded firearm called Twitter. That's pretty funny, actually. Loomer's response: I'm so glad so many people are starting to see what a terrible person Tucker is. I'm glad people's eyes are opening to what a fraud this guy's. Okay, where is it? Where's the fraud? Well, tell us. Well, she followed up by asking, and this is where we know things are insincere, because anybody who wastes time with a post like this means they're baiting you and they're not coming out and being honest. Do you want to know something about Tucker Carlson that nobody knows about? Oh my God. I feel like I'm in recess in middle school. This is like 7th grade recess between English and math. Oh my God. Did you know? Oh, only like me. Okay. Only like me and like 3 other people in school know. This is going to be like the final nail in the coffin that makes everyone realize what a fraud he is. Oh my God. I'll tell you later. I can't tell you now. I got to get to math class. But oh my God, only me and like 3 other, but you have the pinky swear. You're not going to say anything. Well, here it is. The big reveal. Tucker Carlson deliberately chose to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story in 2020 to preserve his friendship and investment relationships with Hunter Biden and the Biden family. A betrayal of public trust during the 2020 election, and how Tucker helped Biden get away with stealing the 2020 election. Well, the ending of that is true. The part about Biden getting away with the election because he had help suppressing this story, certainly that part's true. Did Tucker have anything to do with that? I don't know. I don't think so. But let's see. This is her big. Now everybody knows that Tucker is not to be trusted. Okay. All right. Here's her story. Here's Laura Loomer's story. In the weeks leading up to 2020, the election, bombshell was poised to reshape the political landscape. And you guys remember, this is true. The Hunter Biden laptop scandal. There was evidence of corruption, foreign influence, activities tied to the Biden family. It was not a rumor or speculation. It was fully authenticated device backed by metadata chain. So all that's true. Yet, in a critical juncture, one of America's most influential conservative voices, Tucker, made a choice that would reverberate through history by suppressing this explosive material. Carlson not only shielded the Biden family from scrutiny, but arguably helped tilt the scales of the 2020 election. Really? Because you could fill that blank in where it says Carlson, and you could put in the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, particularly Rachel Maddow. The list goes on. I don't know. How are you getting Tucker Carlson in this list? Or I guess in her case, this sole line that she's blaming it on Carlson. Well, she's not technically saying it wasn't anybody else. She probably does agree all those other things happened. Well, we know they happened. We know the Washington Post, they bragged about suppressing it. That was actually something that we saw in these quote unquote liberal outlets. They bragged about suppressing information in order to help the election go towards Biden. They thought it was a medal of honor, a badge of honor. So we already know all this, but why Tucker? What did he do? Well, the end of her tweet is this expose delves into the details of Carlson's actions, his personal and financial ties to Biden's, and the motivations behind his decision to bury the story, could have altered the course of American political history and had disastrous consequences for our country. And as you guys can see right before that, and she's going to go into a whole tirade of Carlson, we're not going to get into it because there's already been a context added from readers. Tucker went live on Fox talking about the laptop on October 14th, 2020. That's about 3 weeks before the election. Did he have the information before October 14th? Most likely so. As you guys know, it takes time to get stories right. So if she's claiming it was before October 14th that he was hesitant and he had some ties to the family, well, good for him for overcoming those obstacles and giving us an actual report before the election. So all you're doing, Laura Loomer, is you're drawing our attention back to a video that we probably wouldn't have had time to look at, but now we will because readers added context on X. Here's a clip from his report that aired on October 14th, 2020, 3 weeks before the election on Fox News. Take it away, Tucker.
Never imagined it could happen in this country, and yet today it did happen. A major American newspaper published a story, apparently an entirely accurate story, about a presidential candidate. The tech monopolies that control American media feared this story might hurt that candidate, whom they favor. So 3 weeks before a national election, they shut the whole thing down. They prevented the public from reading the news. They didn't apologize for doing this. They didn't bother to make up reasonable-sounding justifications for it. They just did it, exactly as the Chinese government does. These are monopolies. They have all the power. You have none. They don't have to care what you think, and they don't. This was mass censorship on a scale that America has never experienced, not in 245 years. And it's a threat to all of us. Democracies only function when there is a free exchange of information between citizens. We no longer have that. This is a dark moment. Here are the details. This morning, the New York Post published a series of emails that describe Hunter Biden's lucrative relationship with a Ukrainian energy company called Burisma, and then describe how his father, then the Vice President of the United States, intervened to help his son peddle influence.
Well, there you go. And it goes on from there. He did quite an expose on it. So for Laura Loomer to come back and tell us that her expose about why Tucker was compromised and didn't report accurately is quite an interesting choice for her to do that. And we don't think that she made that choice on her own. We certainly think that she has some ties, Israel ties. She's been definitely accused of being an Israeli spy. When she's accused of that to her face, she always responds with, "I'm a U.S. citizen." Well, guess what? So is Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. They were U.S. citizens and Mossad agents. We know that for a fact. So don't mix up. So when you hear her respond that way and say, "Oh, I can't be an Israeli agent. I'm a U.S. citizen," that's not how it works. You're not just an agent because of your citizenship. You're an agent because you're an agent. You're a paid operative. So her responding that way kind of shows her guilt. It kind of shows her guilt. But just to follow this up, it's very clear. And like, it's nice to see that Tucker is not wasting his time as he used to maybe earlier in the summer. He was wasting his time engaging with Laura Loomer. I think at this point, it's clear that it's just not worth his time. He's got way too much else going on right now. Really important interviews lined up. And again, we're not hero worshiping. We told you that from the start of the show. We're going to call out Tucker if he misses something, if he gets something wrong, if he doesn't apologize for something, if he gets too soft on something, if he's maneuvering something. We will call him out. Absolutely. But when he gets something right like this, Tucker says, stop calling it a war. It's a genocide. It's an invasion. It's ethnic cleansing. Maybe that is the problem Laura Loomer has with Tucker. Maybe that. But Laura Loomer doesn't stop at Tucker. She goes further. She tweeted this out, and I think this was after the FEMA story broke. But we know that the Stop Hate Act has been being pushed in legislation right now. So Laura Loomer has to pretend that the problem is the Palestinian protesters. And she's going to double down and attack as many people as she can. This is one of her tweets. There's a bunch of them. I mean, she is just, Tucker was right when he said she's just like this child on a playground, just using Twitter as a place to just launch whatever she wants. And here it is. One example. The fake news is now planting fake stories about the Trump administration policy on Israel because they're trying to antagonize people to carry out acts of violence against Jewish people in the U.S. No, they're not. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. Don't fall for it. Okay. I thought we were going to go do violence against Jewish people. Well, thank you, Laura. Donald Trump is America first. No, he's not. He's Israel first. And always has been. Okay. The people screaming Trump is Israel first are the same people who want to see Jews gunned down in the streets of America. No, they don't. You're just saying words. Those words are insane. They're not real. Nobody wants to see Jews gunned down in the streets of America. Nobody wants to see that, except maybe psychopath Zionists. So then they have more reason to push hate speech legislation and more laws elevating the ADL, elevating AIPAC, elevating our military policy in the Middle East, elevating our ability to justify annihilating all the bordering countries and ultimately pushing the completion of the Greater Israel Project. The only people I suspect would be okay with Jews getting gunned down in the streets of America are the people that want to see the Greater Israel Project vision come through. That's it. Nobody else actually wants to see that. So that's an effing lie. That's an effing lie. Stop believing every single lie you see online that blames Jews for everything. That's not. No. Standing up against Islamic terrorism is America's first national security. What Islamic terrorism? What are you talking about? What Islamic terrorism are you standing up against for our national security? What do you mean? Nothing aside from a full-blown commitment by the Trump admin to kill every Jew in America will make the woke right and their communist allies in the left happy. So this is what they're doing now. They're calling Tucker and Candace, people like Laura Loomer are calling Tucker and Candace the woke right, and they're saying they align with communist allies, which I guess would be the left. They can't call it the woke left because that's already the woke left's already taken, and you guys know this. They're already taken by the HOLLYWOKE crowd. They're more about LGBT and Black Lives Matter. They don't actually get in the street for Palestine. So they have a hard time of thinking of a name for us, but they just call us communist allies, which is interesting because you can throw communist at anything that's anti-military industrial complex, which would kind of be accurate because communist is actually not about the military industrial complex. But it's just interesting, just throwing words around. I love just the idea of throwing words around. Well, she got a lot of pushback for this. I just want to focus on one. There's so much pushback. I can't say she officially got ratioed on this because she's got way too many people liking her crap, but she certainly got a lot of pushback. I just wanted to highlight one because this is friend of the show, Mindy Robinson, who, you guys know, she was a MAGA. She was out at January 6th. She was a speaker before shit went south. And then she went libertarian, which I appreciate the libertarian mindset. And spoke up against Trump for what he's doing and spoke up against genocide. So Mindy says DHS just alerted its own provision that's not fake news. And how in the flying fuck does me not wanting to give Israel our hard-earned tax money when Americans need it here translate into wanting to see Jews gunned down in the street? Oh, how the mighty have fallen. And I'll only correct you with this, Mindy. The mighty, not so much, but I know you're using that expression in some sort of it's sarcasm. But I will say that that's not very mighty of Laurel. I don't think she's ever been mighty. The last thing of note is Laura Loomer is certainly in the pockets of Israel. More than that, the Palantir element, and we're going to get into that story in a little bit. But the Palantir element is another very suspicious part of the story. And just to remind you, if you guys didn't know this, Laura Loomer was pushing Palantir to be implemented right here in LA back during the ICE raids and the protests during the No Kings. We covered that in real time here. But just a reminder, Laura Loomer put this out during the ICE raids here in LA. Time to deploy Palantir tech to LA to deal with the illegals. You know you'd love to see it. You're lying if you say you want it. And this, my friends, is an example of how somebody like Laura Loomer has absolutely zero credibility and zero principle. Because if you had principle, even if you hate a particular people, even if you hate illegals, you hate people in LA, particularly lefty commies, as you call them in your other tweets, even if you hate them with disgust, the fact that you want to deploy a private company that keeps a super mega computer database and violates our privacy and puts everything on a digital, puts us in a digital currency system, and initiates and implements pre-crime strategies against not just our enemies, but the American people themselves. If you're for that, then you are not to be trusted, because there should be a line in the sand, even for the most hateful people and you want to see harm done to. You should have a line in the sand at the minimum of saying, yes, let's implement a technology that's going to be used against all of us. You should have enough sense to at least put the line in the sand on that. But no, Palantir for illegals, Laura Loomer, is Palantir for everyone. And you should know that. And that's why she is insincere, and she should not be trusted. I'll take Tucker Carlson over Laura Loomer any day. All right. Here we go, guys. Man, we are flying through it. We are flying through it. It is a little different not to have guests coming on today. It's a little strange. I'm liking this. I'm liking this. It's a little one-on-one time with you guys. You know what? Hell, let's just get into the next one. We're talking about Palantir. Palantir's not going away. Palantir was one of the biggest receivers of money through the big, beautiful bill. Well, how do we know this? Well, we did some of our own investigation on it. Fiorella Isabel, Truthwire, did some personal investigation on it and found the paper trail of exactly the military budget that's not just going for arms to be used and have been being used in other countries. Israel, IDF, using Palantir technology to target Gaza, to target Palestinians, using it to evoke war against Russia, against China. It's not just military funding, it's also security funding, which involves surveillance and pre-crime and all that technology of AI, which is used to target and keep people in a database and recognize you as somebody who's going to be committing a crime in the future. So we're going to target you in advance. So first, let's look at this, because this is all related to Epstein, why we're not getting the files, and why we might be heading into a new era outside of what we've been coming out of, which is the Epstein and P. Diddy era of using sexual blackmail against world leaders, celebrities, and any politician to get them to do whatever you want them to do. That was the technique by the Mossad. And let's start with this. This is a former Israeli intelligence officer, Ari Ben Menashe. Ari Ben Menashe. He's going to tell us of how Israel has trapped multiple U.S. presidents. Multiple, not just Trump. So if you think Trump is unique and he's being blackmailed and hijacked by the Epstein situation, with the fact that Epstein is a Mossad agent, he's not unique in that situation. The Mossad's been doing this to us for years. Here is a former Israeli agent is going to tell us this. Here we go.
And so Jeffrey Epstein, in a way, presumably being used as a tool by the Israelis, helped to change the course of history in this region I'm speaking to you from.
Of course, a change thing. And they trapped a number of U.S. presidents by using Jeffrey Epstein. And it wasn't only about sex, it was also the money issue. Where was the money coming from?
Yeah, it's the financial links.
Financial issues, different personalities receiving money from a group of billionaire Jews that worked with the Israeli government in the United States.
There it is. So that's the history of the Mossad. That's the history of our intelligence community, blackmailing, tricking people in power, particularly presidents, and controlling them that way. We're probably never going to see those files. We're just going to be moving ahead with Palantir. That's the new Jeffrey Epstein. That's the new Jeffrey Epstein. Whitney Webb recently went on Bad Faith with Brianna Joy Gray, and she talked about this exact topic of Jeffrey Epstein being, and P. Diddy, all the alike. You guys know how it works, the drill. That is kind of a technique, a control technique that is a way of the past, and that Palantir is actually the new Jeffrey Epstein. Let's let her explain. Here we go, Whitney Webb.
But again, to bring it back to a question you asked earlier on about, Israel and blackmail, they don't really need blackmail anymore. And I argue at the end of my book that Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, really makes it so that, that's the new Jeffrey Epstein at the end of the day. If they want to blackmail you or know something about you, they just access what Palantir sucked up about you and your search history, your communications, your finances, tweets you've liked in the past, all sorts of things. You don't really need Epstein in the surveillance era,
Do you think when they said tweets are private, it was just an inducement to get us all to like what we really want to like so they can hold it against us later?
It's possible if they want to hold it against you later. The disturbing thing about Palantir is that it's really about pre-crime. They were the pioneers of predictive policing. They were originally, almost everywhere they've piloted predictive policing have been low-income minority neighborhoods. Where they decide who's going to commit a crime before they commit it. And that's essentially we'll see. Administrative detention, maybe, if we go the Israeli path. But Trump actually, in his first term, posited this program to stop mass shootings before they happen.
So, yeah, this is an actual thing that Trump tried years ago, 10 years ago. He tried this, or 8 years ago. He tried this. And she'll explain more on this. But this pre-crime. This is not some sci-fi idea. Obviously, if you can go back and watch Minority Report, 2001, 2002, Spielberg film, telling us, and it's not a prediction, it's educating us on what's coming up in the future. Pre-crime. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. So how do you get the American people on board for pre-crime? Well, Trump initially tried it in his first term, and it's something he probably would have gotten bipartisan support if he didn't make the fatal mistake, and Whitney will explain this in a second, if he didn't make the fatal mistake of making it a government program, because obviously the right will be completely against it in that regard. The left actually might have been on it. They want psychological evaluation of who? Guess none other than potential school shooters. Brilliant. Let's see how that went.
That would basically involve going over American social media posts and identifying if they had early warning signs of neuropsychiatric illness based on their, tweets or Facebook posts. And if they were determined by the algorithm to show those warning signs, they could be, placed under house arrest or go to sessions with a court-ordered psychologist and all sorts of things.
Well, some of my extended relatives better be careful because they got some wild Facebook posts. I had to leave the app.
So do a lot of Americans. And it's worth pointing out that a lot of social media companies like Facebook have a lot of ties to Peter Thiel. at the same time he was setting up Palantir, and that Facebook has a lot of similarities to a failed DARPA project called LifeLog that arguably Facebook was resurrected into, because Palantir is the resurrection of another DARPA program called Total Information Awareness that was so scandalous when it was announced. It was defunded by Congress, but then they realized that if they turned it into a private company, no one would complain, and that's how we got Palantir. So
if they turned it into a private company, then no one would complain. And that's how we get Palantir. Genius. Genius. Now you got the right on board, like the lower Loomers. You got them on board because it's privatized. It means that a company can do whatever they want, even though it's the company itself is controlling the government agencies. So the thing you didn't want, which was government interference, government control, government overreach, the thing you didn't want, because it was instilled in you into your values of being a conservative and a constitutionalist and America first. It was instilled in you. Now you're okay with it because it's business first. It's play the game, the capitalist game. And if Palantir works if Alex Karp and Peter Thiel work their asses off, we all get a chance to be billionaires and do whatever we want, like control government agencies if you get this contract, which Palantir has gotten through the big, beautiful bill. Back to the research. Fiorella, Isabel, the credit where credit's due, $320 billion going into the pockets of Palantir for this type of technology. Pre-crime. Controlling government agencies, putting everybody on a database, and when see fit, if you fit the psychological profile of somebody who's going to commit a crime, who gets to decide what a crime is? A crime is, well, maybe an active protest against a foreign government like Israel might constitute a crime. If they can determine that you're capable of doing that in the future, they can take care of you now. That's how pre-crime works. That's what Palantir will be able to do. And Whitney Webb's warning is spot on. And she's been warning us about this for years. The technocratic takeover, which he just needed to put Trump in to get the right wing on board. The left was already on board. They love the digital currency, digital ID system. They love their medical records being public knowledge. They love they love all this stuff. They certainly do. They certainly do. One more look at Palantir. We've showed you guys this before, but just to remind you, there he is. There's that's Alex Karp, the guy, the mouthpiece right now. Whitney mentioned Peter Thiel. He's kind of more behind the scenes, but Alex Karp is the official spokesman, the Dr. Evil, as it will. Mass surveillance under Palantir, the tech company's ties to the U.S. military, ICE, and the IDF. Palantir's reach extends now through the government and across borders, creating an unprecedented apparatus of control. And this is before, by the way, this is before the big, beautiful bill. So they had already been underway. This is how you conducted the ICE raids with this $480 million Project Maven, 30 million. So this is a 1.3 billion is the expansion big, beautiful bill. Now they're at 320 billion, but at 1.3 billion, 30 million of that went to Immigration OS, which is ICE's immigrant tracker, which led to the ICE raids. It's all in motion. It's all going right now. This is what it is. This is Palantir. And there you got Rolling Stone reporting on Stephen Miller's financial stake in the company, helping ICE with deportations. So we know all this. We know all this. And there, WikiLeaks reports to us last year that Alex Karp says, and this is last year, this is way before the election. Alex Karp says the U.S. will very likely fight a three-front war against Russia, China, Iran, and Iran. Love it. Love it. You want to hear it from his own mouth? Why don't we listen to Alex Karp? You might have heard this before, but we got to play it again. This is an oldie but a goodie, but this is Alex Karp telling you what he thinks of his quote-unquote enemies, people who challenge him, people who have critique on him, and him meaning He represents Zionism, the state of U.S. Israel domination and the Greater Israel Project, and military dominance throughout the planet. Anybody challenging this three-front war on China, Russia, and Iran, he will teach them a lesson. Let's hear it.
You need a higher purpose, and I also think you often need a lower purpose. Like the higher purpose for me...
What's a lower purpose?
Well, I love the idea of getting a drone and having light fentanyl-laced urine spraying on analysts who tried to screw us. So that's my lower purpose. And, yeah, and others. But the higher purpose for me was to get this nation to be the preeminent power in the world, because whatever faults we have, they're nothing like anyone else's.
Whatever faults we have, well, they're nothing like anyone else's. So that's how you justify horrible shit to stop what you call worse horrible shit. So that's how you do it. That's how you justify it. Whatever we're doing is not as bad as them. So, and them, who is them? They can be anyone. They can be us for challenging, us for critiquing. So journalists are definitely on his list. Real journalists, not propagandists, but journalists are on the list of Alex Karp, where that $320 billion is going, is to fight us. Wow. I can't wait for that. That's going to be fun. And that's in process right now, guys. So we're going to keep an eye on this story on Palantir, but Whitney Webb drawing that correlation between Epstein and Palantir. Now they don't need Epstein anymore. They don't need to have this empire built, sex trafficking island. They don't need P. Diddy white parties. That's a thing of the past. Palantir can do all of it on its own. It can create the paper trail it needs. It can create the blackmail. It doesn't need to walk you through these motions of tricking you into, whether it's through drugs or through any sort of ritualistic shit, tricking you into doing stuff they can use against you later. They can just do it with AI, do it with technology. And we've seen in some cases, if they can't find anything on you, they can certainly just make something up. It's very easy to do. It's cutting out the middleman. You don't need another island. You don't need another P. Diddy white party situation. Palantir will do it. Palantir will do it. And this was inevitable, guys. As you saw in the timeline, it was already in the works before Trump got into office the second term. This has been a trial and error situation from the beginning, and enough trial and errors. They finally got it right. And here we are. Welcome to the new age of technocracy. Thank you, Whitney Webb, for being on this. We'll keep trying to report on this until we can't, until they take our channels down and punish us. As Alex Karp says, his lower purpose is to inflict pain on us and teach us a lesson, make an example out of us. So until that day, we'll keep doing what we're doing. Okay. I think what we're going to do right now is take a short break. Go grab yourself a drink, go to the bathroom, whatever you got to do. We'll be back. We got some great stuff coming up. We got a This Week in HOLLYWOKE. We know what it's not. RFK news coming up. Some unexpected collapses, some died suddenly. We're going to cover some of those. With that, let's cut to a card, and we will see you guys in about 5 minutes. Okay, well, 3 or 4 minutes. We'll call it 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, guys, we will see you soon. Okay, let me take a moment to introduce you to our good friends over at World Harvest Food Bank right here in LA. World Harvest has been serving families across Los Angeles for 18 years now, and they started with this simple idea. Everyone deserves access to healthy, affordable food no matter what they're going through. With their Cart with a Heart program, families can walk away with a full cart of groceries, fresh produce, dairy, meat, and pantry supplies for just a $50 contribution. That's for the entire cart. That same cart would cost over $300 at a typical grocery store. At World Harvest, everyone is welcome. They don't ask for income verification, ID, or any paperwork. No. Basically, their doors are open to anyone who's doing their best, but just needs a little extra push to get by. If you're an Angelino like me, you know the times have been tough here. First with all the union strikes, the LA fires, and now the ICE raids going on. It seems like we're living in a constant state of uncertainty. And that's why it's so important to support local charities like World Harvest, because they aren't just helping the community. They're an essential function in its very survival. World Harvest is located at Venice and Arlington. And right now, you can use our special discount code THL20 for 20% off your contribution amount at checkout. And if you're not in the LA area, you can still help out with a $50 donation, which will provide a full cart of food for a family by going to worldharvestfoodbank.org or scan the QR code for more info. Or you can just spread the word. Follow them online. Let people know they're here for them, because at the end of the day, it's about providing choice, access, and relief without barriers. World Harvest Food Bank. End hunger now. All right, we're back. We're back. If you haven't heard of Glenn down over at the World Harvest Food Bank right here in LA, good friend. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, told us all about his story and running this charity. It's for everybody. Craig Pasta Jardula came out here to LA, and he took a trip down himself and checked it out, and it was awesome. We actually got together him. We got Leslie, everybody got together. We had a nice, amazing cookout meal together. And, Glenn provided a lot of that food, and the food is it's fresh. It's organic. The part I don't get to it in the ad is that it doesn't have all the, chemicals and preservatives and the stuff that you get at these big corporate stores. So not only are you getting like this big shopping cart, just overstuffed, overfilled with food for $50. You're also getting healthy food as well. And so you got to support your local supermarkets, but it's a charity. It's for everyone. And it definitely has gotten us through a lot of crazy times here in LA. So I recommend you guys going there if you're here in LA, or if you know anyone in LA, just send them this info. In fact, let me throw this up one more time, just so you guys can have it, and you can text it to a friend or family if you have anyone in the LA area that you think could benefit from just like a little $50 fill up. Actually, with the code, the THL20, it's $40. $40, full fill up of a cart, anything you want, whatever they got, fresh produce, all the good stuff. THL20. Let somebody know in the area, they can show right up and fill up a cart. So there you go. Thanks, Glenn, over at World Harvest Food Bank. And yeah, we love it. We love it. And yeah, let's continue to support local businesses, local charities like World Harvest Food Bank. And if you can't do it in your own, in the LA area, do it in your own area. Just support this stuff, because what else we got? We got Kroger, Monsanto's, Bill Gates, engineering all this mRNA into our food supply. It's horrible. It's horrible. And the price of groceries going up so much, it's absolutely out of control. So this isn't feel bad for me, I can't afford groceries. This is everybody can show up and do this. Everybody. We don't care. He doesn't care who you are. There's no background check. Just come on in. All you got to do is just put your name on the thing and put on the code THL20, and you'll get 20% off of your full cart. There you go. Okay. Let's move on with some more show. Welcome everyone to the Homeless Loft. We're doing a more intimate show with you guys today, one-on-one. We're holding this down. We got another hour of show for you right now. You guys can go back if you're just joining us now. You can go back and watch the replay. They're always up on our Rumble channel, any of the replays, or you can wait for the segments to come out. We'll try to get the segments out. We've actually been doing a lot better with getting segments out sooner than later, because we know news goes quick. Topics go quick. You know, the next news cycle has started, and we want to make sure you have access to these conversations, to this thoughtful investigation, these thoughtful, pieces that we do. We put a lot of effort and time into them, so we want to make sure you have access to them and you can get them out to your people. It's not just about getting us more exposure and getting, more followers. It's more than that. It's about having these conversations, because it's about having the ability to connect and communicate with others, not just what our show can do, but you can do. You can empower yourselves with the tools you need to take on the family members and the friends you might have lost or been separated or been estranged from over these last 5 years. If you said something wrong about COVID and it got under their skin, or you said something wrong about Ukraine, or you said something wrong about Israel, or you said something wrong about the Democratic Party. Oh, how dare you say Biden has mental deficiencies. Oh, it's a stutter. That's right. It was a stutter the whole time until it wasn't. It was a stutter until it wasn't, right? Just like it's not a genocide until it's not. Until it is. It's funny how they tell you when it's okay to say something. Well, you're sick of that. We're sick of that, being told when it's okay to say something. We're not going to wait till the right time. We're not going to wait till after somebody gets elected to then be critical of them. That's not how it works. We're getting critical right off the bat. As soon as we smell something fishy, we're letting the cat out of the bag and we're exposing it. And that's what we want you guys to be able to do too. So have these conversations with your friends and family. Try and mend those relationships with a little, hey, wanted you to check this out. This topic came up. Thought it would interest you. So personalize it. Give people space. Obviously, give them space to kind of process stuff. It's hard. It's hard when your entire concept of reality gets challenged. Like when COVID turned out to be a complete psyop on not just the American people, on the entire world population. When it turned out to be that, it's hard to process that. How could I have fallen for that? It definitely takes a lot of pride you have to swallow to be like, how was I fooled? That doesn't seem like me. I'm a smart person. How was my doctor fooled? They seem like a smart person. They went through medical school. They told me to get this experimental jab. They said I needed it. They said I was going to not just not get the thing, but not be able to transmit it either. And I wanted to be able to see grandma before she died in a ventilator, which I thought ventilators worked. And now I found out they didn't. I thought remdesivir worked. Oh, no, that killed people. Well, we stopped giving it to people once we knew it killed them. No, we stopped putting people on ventilators before as soon as we knew it killed people. No, we stopped listing COVID deaths as COVID deaths when they happened to have COVID, when they got in a car accident and died. No, we stopped canceling people when they said ivermectin can prevent COVID, can treat it. No, we called it horse dewormer. That's right. So the list is long, and that's just in COVID. What about all these other? There's so many topics that they fool us on purpose, whether it's Russiagate, the 2020 election, we're not allowed to challenge it. How this handpicked demented idiot could have been hand selected for this job and got more votes than anyone in the history of our country ever, more than Obama. Yeah, that happened. Anyways, but let's continue to be skeptical. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. It's time for some This Week in HOLLYWOKE. I think it's time. And then we'll be following that up with talking back with you guys. So keep your questions, keep your comments coming through, and we'll engage with you guys in just a bit. But right now it's time for This Week in HOLLYWOKE. Let's do it. It's another week in HOLLYWOKE. We have some concerning news about yet another tragedy that struck the team behind Best Documentary, Academy Award winning Best Documentary, No Other Land. If you guys missed that, No Other Land, a story about the West Bank, a story about Palestine and Israel. People working together on this film. The directors that were co-directed by an Israeli and a Palestinian who co-directed the film. The film takes place before October 7th. It managed to win Best Documentary this past year. Then, unfortunately, later you had the Palestinian co-director was captured and tortured and beaten by the IDF for 24 hours, and Hollywood said nothing about it. They said nothing about it. They were too busy giving Gal Gadot a star on Hollywood Boulevard. That's right. Israeli ex-IDF soldier, trainer from the IDF. That's Gal Gadot, an actual murderer of innocent people in Lebanon, which she did in 2006 before she was handpicked to be Wonder Woman or be put into Hollywood, and then 10 years later get a star on Hollywood Boulevard. Congratulations, you've gotten sooner than anybody else ever in the history of ever. 10 years, that's quite a feat. Most actors take 20 years to get a star on Hollywood Boulevard, but that's neither here nor there. What is important is that this movie, No Other Land, was highly protested against within Hollywood, and there was an active boycott of the film because we don't want to see a story about the West Bank. We don't want to see what happened before October 7th. We don't want to see it. So the IDF punishing one of the directors who just got an Academy Award 3 weeks later is in IDF captivity, being tortured and beaten. No, Hollywood doesn't care about that. Other film festivals in other areas of the world all stood up and said something about this horrible atrocity that was committed against the co-director of the film. The Academy Awards here in Hollywood said nothing. Why am I bringing this up now? Because another tragedy has struck this film team of No Other Land, and Hollywood is pretty quiet about it. You can find the report, but they're pretty quiet about it. Let's see what happened. Well, we did find it in Hollywood Reporter, so I'll give them that. They did put this out. The Palestinian activist featured in Oscar-winning No Other Land was killed in the West Bank. Israeli co-director Yuval Abraham on his X page posted a video of Israeli settler Yinon Levy allegedly shooting at Palestinians during a West Bank confrontation. Palestinian activist Owdeh Hathaleen, who was featured in the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land, has been allegedly gunned down and killed in the West Bank adjoining Israel. The co-director with the Palestinian filmmaker put the claim, they're calling it a claim. It was a claim. No, this really happened. It's not a claim. It's reporting journalism, because our news outlets are not going to do it here. So we have to use Twitter to report news. But no, it's a claim. According to this Hollywood Reporter story, it's a claim that Yinon Levy has shot him. An Israeli settler just shot Owdeh Hathaleen in the lungs, a remarkable activist who helped us film No Other Land in Masafer Yatta. Residents identified Levy, sanctioned by the EU and US, as the shooter. This is him in the video, firing like crazy. Abraham posted, the Israeli filmmaker included a video that apparently shows Levy with a gun in hand and in confrontation with Palestinians. Here is the video.
ضرب احمد السن الباقر يا زلمه ضرب احمد.
Story's been verified. It happened. You're not going to know it if you're here in Hollywood. You're not going to know that this happened. Just like you didn't know that the co-director was held captive and tortured for 24 hours, 3 weeks after winning the Academy Award. You would not know if you're here. You would not even know. In fact, you wouldn't even know who won the best documentary. You don't even care. But you do know about Gal Gadot getting a star on Hollywood Boulevard. That you did. You would know that if you're here in Hollywood. Adam reports that, yes, Palestinian activist Owdeh Hathaleen, contributor to the Oscar-winning No Other Land, was shot dead by Israelis in the West Bank, where there is no Hamas. Just to be clear, West Bank is not in Palestine. It's not in Gaza. It is Palestine, but it's being occupied, just like all of Palestine, being occupied by Israel. And there is no Hamas in the West Bank. The killing happened during an occupier-led land raid with a bulldozer. Israel is an evil entity. Now, to put salt on a wound, if it's not bad enough that this happened, if it's not bad enough that there will be no repercussions for the Israeli occupiers, there will be no follow-up. I guarantee you there'll be no follow-up on the story in the Hollywood Reporter. They reported it as allegedly, supposedly. That's it. That's the end of the story. Well, what about the funeral? Well, we can tell you this. What we found out was that the body of the filmmaker of Hathaleen was stolen. So they can't bury the body. The IDF took the body. They wouldn't even leave him with the family. And now we're hearing that the family of Hathaleen, the friends and family of Hathaleen in the West Bank that are still living, they are on a hunger strike right now on behalf of Hathaleen not having his body. The Hollywood Reporter didn't report that part of the story because they wanted you to think this was alleged and might have happened, might not. We don't know. We don't care. We just thought we'd throw it out there and move on. An Academy Award-winning film, a filmmaker in that film is dead. The body stolen by Israel, and it can't even have a proper funeral. You want to hear what's more infuriating than that? The family decided to have a funeral anyway without the body. You want to see what happened there? You're not going to believe this. The IDF raided the funeral with the missing body. Not kidding. Here you go. Israel soldiers raid the funeral. Again, there's no body for the funeral, but they show up. Most of these family members were on a hunger strike. This was the shot from the win. You know what? Let me take the volume down on this so you can hear me. This is the video again from July 28th, where the murderer of the filmmaker, Lenon Levy, murders him. He was raided. So he's on house arrest, apparently. He's designated the entire... Wait, let me go back on that one. Hold on. Let me see that one again. The Israeli military has designated Hathalin's entire community Maser Yatta, a closed military zone. Really? So the entire community is now closed after this incident. That doesn't sound like it's to benefit the people in West Bank. This sounds like it's a military action designed to continue to raid. The raid they were doing is now they're continuing that raid, and they're continuing to take land and take property and annihilate these people in the West Bank, which again, there's no Hamas. It's not in Gaza. This is happening right now. And again, that's the end of the report from the Hollywood Reporter. But Al Jazeera is reporting on this. The No Other Land documented how Israeli settlers. So this is what the movie was about. The movie itself was about how Israeli settlers and soldiers working to forcibly expel the Palestinians who live there in the West Bank. The movie takes place before October 7th, before the genocide in Gaza started. But this is the illegal occupation in the West Bank, where there is no Hamas, and how the settlers and soldiers work to forcibly expel the people living there, the Palestinians. The film is made by a Palestinian director, co-directed with an Israeli citizen, co-directing the film together in unison. and nothing really being done about this at all. So the forces have harassed the families and the mourners of the murdered Palestinians before. It's not the first time. Obviously, they love to do that. Here's another example, 2022. Before October 7th, 2023, Israeli police raided the family home and funeral of Palestinian American Al Jazeera's journalist Sharif Abdul Ali. We knew this one, Ali. We knew, or Akli. I got to pronounce that one correctly. We knew about this one as well when this happened. But this is ongoing. This isn't something that just was recent. They've been doing this for years and years, and that's just another example. Let's see if there's any more onto this story from Al Jazeera. That was another, yeah. So these funerals get raided all the time. And she was reporting from the West Bank, and they killed the journalist on purpose, reporting from the West Bank in 2022. And now, since October 7th, 2023, over 1,000 Palestinians have been killed just in the West Bank alone. And this is the filmmaker from No Other Land who was murdered. And the Hollywood Reporter can only say allegedly murdered. According to the filmmaker, we don't know. We don't care. We don't care about the body not being returned. We don't care about the funeral being raided by the IDF. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. But that's how we do it here in HOLLYWOKE. Let's do this, because I think that there's one more story I wanted you guys to know in HOLLYWOKE this week, which is kind of related if you think about it from a storytelling point of view. So here's what we're going to talk about. I'm gonna attempt to connect the dots with this previous story, what the responsibility is of the filmmaker in Hollywood, the responsibility of being truthful in storytelling. When does journalism and entertainment collide? Well, it collides when you're making documentary. I've been making documentaries for years before I ever considered myself a journalist. It's about going to the story, getting the story, finding a way to present the story to the audience in a theatrical way. Sometimes you have, with music and cuts, and there's emotional builds. Same thing you do in a Hollywood film, but you do it in a documentary. But it's a way to tell a story that maybe hadn't been told. That's where journalism and entertainment merge. Okay, so you would hope that the goal was, if the goal is to be honest with your audience and get them in the seats and figure out ways you can use your creativity, because that's the only difference really between a journalist and a filmmaker really should be the element of creativity. That should be it. You should on paper, in theory, have the same integrity of wanting to be honest with your job. Unfortunately, neither are honest. They've both of these industries, journalism and entertainment, have been hijacked. And the people who flourish in these two industries are people who do the opposite. The people who succumb to propaganda and and protecting people in power and getting paid to be dishonest. So when we saw this come up on our feed, this was infuriating. And this will show you that the space we're heading to in the new age of AI taking over Hollywood, AI being the most inauthentic technology we've ever experienced in storytelling genre. AI is not just taking over entertainment, it's taking over journalism too. And there's no better example than this. I'm gonna go like this. It's air quotes. This interview. It's an AI interview. And I want you guys to really take this in. It's pretty short. It's pretty short. But it's an AI interview. And it's conducted by a human being with an AI person being interviewed. The human being is former CNN host Jim Acosta, who's interviewing a non-human. It's an AI version of, get this, a deceased Parkland victim to push gun control from the Parkland shootings. So as a filmmaker, if I were to make a documentary about the Parkland shootings, and there's a lot to look into there, because there's a lot of shit they did not tell us about that, and it would be actually a great topic to go make a documentary about and to be an honest filmmaker. That's not happening. What is happening is that an agenda is being pushed using technology to entertain you in what they're calling an interview. But what you're about to see is 100% pure entertainment. It's not real, but this type of technique is going to start being used more and more to push a pre-decided agenda and using entertainment and calling it journalism and then calling that film, whatever you want to call it. They're not going to call this filmmaking. They're going to call this journalism, but they're using elements of entertainment of very nefarious techniques that are not honest, are not sincere, are in the exact opposite of what we just talked about. Both these industries need to do more of. They're doing less of. And if this doesn't sum it up right here, check this out. Let this process. We're going to talk about it after. Here we go.
To know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, Joaquin.
What the hell are we watching? I think that's a great idea, Joaquin. So this is a script. This is a script. This is a Hollywood-produced interaction. They're calling it an interview, but it's not. It's a scripted scene right out of Hollywood using AI. Make you think you're watching an interview that is got integrity behind it. It doesn't. It's a pre-conceived concept with a script. The AI is already pre-programmed to tell you what you want it to say, to make it look like something organic is happening when it's not. And the idea is, oh, well, we're not, look, the defense is, oh, well, we're not trying to pretend this kid's alive and it's a real interview. We're just showing you what it would look like. Would look like according to who? The person writing the check for this that has an agenda? Yeah. So the merging of journalism and entertainment is no more apparent than it is in this example. And the direction we're headed because of technology, because of AI, is going to make these two things indistinguishable. Whereas before AI, before my big awakening here in Hollywood, when I thought that I was surrounded by filmmakers that cared about honesty and integrity, which they don't, they care about their careers. They care about, what do I have to say to get the job? What do I not say to get the job? What am I allowed to be angry about? What am I not? Give me my pecking orders. Email me the thing to be upset about. Email me when it's okay to be in the street, which it was for SAG and WGA strikes. It wasn't for ending the mandates. It wasn't for Free Palestine. It certainly wasn't for January 6th. That you can count on. But the merging of these two industries is the inevitable now, and not in the direction it should be. What I used to think was you can merge these two things in with the umbrella of integrity and getting to the truth. And that's what documentary filmmaking was supposed to be about. I'm an award-winning filmmaker, documentary filmmaker. We made an honest piece in Venezuela back in 2017. Won the Beverly Hills Film Festival for the film Tupamaro. Went to Venezuela, got a real story on the ground. Made the festival circuit. Won a bunch of awards. So are those days over? Looks like it. Looks like it. If you have an agenda, you can create the interview you want and tell the story you want to tell. Not do the real reporting, not do the real investigation. So as journalism becomes more and more about propaganda, entertainment, filmmaking becomes more about fake visuals, fake storylines, scripted AI scripts that are literally written by an AI, not by a human being. Checking DEI boxes, studio approved. And now what is the difference? What is the difference between the next Marvel film and Jim Acosta interviewing a dead kid and telling you what you want to hear? What's the difference? Doesn't matter anymore. And Tom Hanks tells you, I don't care if they make an AI of me and I win an Academy Award after I'm long dead. I don't care. I can't wait to know that. Actually, in fact, I love that idea. Tom Hanks has said on record, I'll be long gone and generations, beyond me, generations well and beyond me will experience my talents. And I might come out and accept an Academy Award as an AI for my role in Forrest Gump 5 or whatever. That I can't wait for that. That'll be awesome after I'm dead. So what is the difference? Well, that's the end. That's the end of journalism. That's the end of entertainment. Everything's fake. Everything is controlled. Everything is pre-planned. So the feelings that you're going to feel, and I'm guilty of this too, as a filmmaker, we want you to feel something. We want to add music. We want to add a transition. We want to edit something in a way that's going to make you feel something. I always try to do that in an honest way. But the more and more we look at the trajectory, the more we see that we're getting further and further away from honesty and integrity. And both these industries are destined to fail, and it looks like they're failing together. That is This Week in HOLLYWOKE. Okay. You know what? Let's do this. It's 2:45. I think it's time for we do have one more segment for you, but before we do that segment, I think it's time we do a little talking back with you guys. Because why the hell not? You guys have been good. You guys have been awesome. This has been fun. This has been a fun show today. More intimate than usual, more intimate. But we'll be back on Thursday with both our co-hosts, you guys know and love, Craig Pasta Jardula and Jay Scott, both coming back in with us on Thursday's show. But still on this show, let's go ahead and engage with you guys on Rumble and on YouTube and on Twitter X if you guys want to throw a comment up there, and on my personal Facebook too. We might throw a few comments up there as well. Okay, without further ado, let's do some talking back. It's Talking Back. Guys, this is our live interaction with you on our Rumble channel, on our YouTube channel. I'll throw them up there just in case you guys are stumbling on it right now. Yes, you can get your comment read and responded to right now at The Homeless Left on Rumble and on Twitter X. You can also do this on YouTube at THL Presents and on Twitter X and Facebook on my personal Matt Weinglass as well. And we'll try to get to as many as we can. Don't forget the locals, the supporting us on our locals channel, if you can do that as well. Also, I want to say this. If you're able to do a Rumble rant or what we call, I guess it's a super chat. We're just learning this because we just monetized. We just were able to monetize our new channel, our brand new YouTube channel, which was awesome. Those get to the front of the line. So let's see. We'll start with, I wrote this up at the front. This is from me. Rumble rants and YouTube super chats go to the front of the line. So we'll keep an eye on that for you guys and move you right to the front. Thank you so much. Let's see what we have here. Wish to go. Wish to go. This is awesome. You said, this Saturday in London, at least 500 brave comrades will hold banners saying they are against genocide and support Palestine action. They hope to overwhelm the system. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. Wish you go. Really appreciate it. A follow up here. It was great to see Assange lead a huge march for Palestine in Sydney at the weekend. Free Palestine, pardon Assange. Wow, I wish we had gotten word on that one. We didn't know that. He was leading a march in Sydney. Well, that sounds exactly like Assange. So good for him. Free Palestine, pardon Assange. Well done. Thanks for that. Wish to go. Let's see. We got, and I showed you. Yeah, of course, this is, Catherine Ladd, this is live. Of course, it's live. Yes, we are live. Yes. Thank you. We did do a topic on this. Thank you, Catherine Ladd. I wasn't able to mention it earlier because we were in the middle of some segments, but I saw your comment. We have covered Burkina Faso. We have covered this with Jay Scott. We actually might do a follow-up. Jay's coming back with us on Thursday. We'll follow up on what's going on there. We certainly have been on it, and we do appreciate this. Is actually Jay Scott, our co-host, will be coming on. He has led the charge on this story for us, so maybe we'll get an update on that as well. Definitely, it's a challenging of the military-industrial complex of American imperialism, of Western imperialism, and we know what happens when countries stand up to imperialism. They get taught a lesson, so we need to look close and see what's going on there, because that's another, you can add it to the list of yet another country that is being taught a lesson of what happens if you stand up against imperialism. So very important story. Thank you for that. Where should go? Hamas. Let's see. Oh, hello, Sherry Wise. Hello. Thanks for going on our YouTube. I know you've been back and forth on our channels, but thank you for being on there. Oh, this is in regards to the CNN anchor. Thank you. Borg Khan, she's high on drugs, Matt. That's the only explanation. That has to be. Jokers for you, quite literally, probably on Adderall. Possibly, yeah. And this was the woman. You know what? Let me put that one back up. That was if you wanted to check this person out, I didn't know who she was until I saw CNN gave her so much airtime. I mean, it's like they were expecting this kind of ranting and raving from this psychopath Zionist who has a pre-order book, End Jew Hatred. This horrible person, Brooke Goldstein. She calls herself an executive director, Lawfare Project. She's a lawyer. Well, so you can do your lawyering. You can figure out a way to spin yourself to win, because that's what lawyering is about, is winning. It's not about truth. It's about what you can prove. Author, TV person. TV personality is right. She's not a journalist. She just goes on CNN to give her series of lies protecting Israel and creating this fake narrative that Jewish hate is the #1 problem we have in our country. So that is, probably on Adderall. Thanks, Borkan and Jokers for you for that expert analysis. We love it. What is the new prescription meth? I don't know. I will look that one up. There might be a new one for meth addicts who want to feel like they are doing things legally. There's always something. They're always working on something. Let's see what else. What else we got here? Ed Rams. Oh, where can I get a cookie too? That's a great question. That's a great question. I think that's in regard to the hunger, the stopping of aid to Palestine, which Israel's making a massive deal about and pretending like they're leading the charge on getting aid, when really they're just lining up aid carts and truckloads of aid just so they can destroy it. They film it, and then they destroy it, and they do not let it in. That's Israel doing it. U.S. knows this, and we're complicit in it, and then we pretend that we're trying to get the aid in. We're trying. It's Hamas is stopping us. Hamas is stopping us from getting the aid. That's what's going on, right? We really want to help feed them. We really do. Yeah, right. Okay. Let's see. Back to the comments. Okay. Yep. Wish to go again. Yep. We are sitting ducks here in the UK. Keep poking the Russian bear. What could possibly go wrong? That's a line. That's a Kit Cabello line. Hard Lens Media. What could possibly go wrong? Thanks for that. Wish to go. Jokers for you. Yep. As war breaks out, crisis deepens. Daddy will come home and beat the wife and kids. You and me. Yep. That's right. Let's not wait for that to happen, please. Let's see what else. Yeah, we should go. Fuck this deranged orange new nonsense. Appreciate that. Thank you for that. Let's see. We got some more coming up here. Here we go. What else we got here? All set in beings. Thanks for tuning in. When was it last when America was first? That's a great question. Let's think. When was it the last time America was first. I don't know if we've ever been first. I think the idea is that you package that narrative to the American people. I don't think we've ever been first. I think you have to go back to pre-World War I even. I mean, you got to go back before the privatizing of the banking system. You got to go back pre-Titanic, right? You got to go back before the takeover in the creation of the Federal Reserve. You got to go back before 1912, before the capture of the church, which gave us the wrong message, not to mention the capture of the dollar. So all that happened at around the same time, roughly in the same 10-year period. You had the capture of the church and the capture of the bank. I think that might have ended everything right there. 1912 to 1917, that in that area of time, that was the last time America was first. You privatize the banking system. You make believe that our country was founded on Christianity and helping the Jews. That's a narrative that was switched out and fabricated once they took Palestine out of the Bible, which was literally taken out of the Bible. The map of Palestine was taken out of the Bible in 1912. That happened. That effing happened. And the narrative and the switching out our money in God we trust, it was never God we trust. Our country was actually founded on the principles of separating church and state, a secular government. That's what it was founded on. You allow people to practice their religion, but you don't base the structure of the government on religion. That's dangerous. That's where you get your crusades and your holy wars and your controlling of people. You're supposed to keep that separate. So this, we're founded on Christianity and protecting Jews. No, we were founded on human rights for all until it wasn't. And then it was retroactively, the narration was changed, and our banking, our financial system was taken out right from under us. So America has not been first since we've been in debt since the teens. This was over 100 years ago. So we're talking about well over 100 years since America's been first. So that's my timeline. There are opportunities where we might have taken it back. JFK might have taken it back, failed, tried to. He did a good job. He did a great job, but he failed because it was too big of a thing to challenge. We almost had that was the last time we had an authentic, real challenger to the takeover of our country was JFK, 1963. That was the last time we've even attempted to legitimately take back. You can't count election seasons. You can't count, these great little moments, Trump getting up on the stage in 2015 and telling the other Republicans on that stage that they're all a bunch of war criminals and Bush and Cheney are war criminals. That's just a moment. That's just a soundbite. But you don't see action when you get into office. Obama did the same thing before that. These sound bites of we're going to hold everyone accountable. We're going to go after the war criminals. No. The activism was just words. It's not taking our country back. It makes for great campaign slogans. Hope and change, joy. There's slogans galore. Slogans galore when it comes to America first. There literally is MAGA. That's a effing slogan. Make America great again. Just a slogan, not real. The last real attempt at America first was JFK, 1963, challenging the Israeli lobbyists. They were called the American Zionists at the time. Now they're called AIPAC. American Zionists, you have to register as a foreign agent. You have to show us your nuclear weapons. Period. You have to do that as ordered by the President of the United States. Well, guess what, Mr. President? F you. You're out. We make an example out of you. So, yeah. 1912. That's my final answer. Last time it was America first. 1912. Okay. Let's go a few more. Let's do a few more. Yeah, Sherry, I agree. I can't take listening to Netanyahu anymore. He's a horrible. He's like the worst person to listen to. He's worse than Trump. At least Trump is a little entertaining sometimes. Netanyahu is not entertaining at all. He He is the most twisted fuck we could possibly put our ears to. It's so hard. It's so hard to listen to him. I agree with you. Thank you, Zootzilla. Fuck Israel. Disgusting. Thank you. Okay, what else we got here? Yeah, all sentient beings. That's true. They cook barbecue close to Gaza on purpose. It's sickening. Yeah, we've covered that before. Thank you, all sentient beings. Sentient beings. That's true. We should go. Loomer is looking more and more like Sharon Warpig Osbourne. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is. I don't know who is worse, because Sharon has the pretentious guise of being a celebrity, you know, in the celebrity world where you're not really influencing people. You're just tweeting out stuff. Laura Loomer's, I guess, taken a little more seriously when she tweets stuff out, but they're both dangerous people. Very similar. I love the comparison. Good call on that one. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, Laura Loomer, she has to be Mossad. Thank you for that. Wish to go. Let's do a few more here. Oh, Wisdom Fetch. Thanks for tuning in on our YouTube channel. We have a voting system that gives the illusion of voting, but in the background, after separating our votes from identity, many positions of power are appointed, not elected by we the people. 100% agree. Yeah, most of them are appointed. But sure, I don't know why would they elect any? Why would anyone be? If you can appoint one person and then you send them an email, you send Obama, the first day on the job, January 2009, he gets an email. Here are the people you're appointing to your positions, Mr. President. And they're all Citibank, all of them, Citigroup, every person on his staff, Citibank. And then what happens next? Big fat bailout of the banks. Wow, what a coincidence. For the people? No. Obama kicked 5.4 million people out of their homes. First move as president. Before president, he was given the Nobel Peace Prize. As a here you go, sir. Now kick out 5.4 million people out of their homes, save the banks, and then go start 5 more wars. Don't stop 2 of them. Start 5 more. And start a drone program. And up the Homeland Security. Put Homeland Security times 100. What Bush and Cheney were doing, just keep doing that, but do more of it. So this is now nobody's elected. They're just selected, and then they're told who else to select. Trump is selected as president, and then he's told who else to put in the positions that they select for him. Miriam Adelson bought the election this time. What? She bought Miriam Adelson bought the election. $100 million. That's what it took. $100 million. She bought the election. She told Trump who to put in all his offices. All of them are Zionists. Every single one of them. From Marco Rubio to Ted Cruz to Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, all of them. Tulsi, RFK, all Zionists. All of them are Zionists. That was told to him. That's it. Thanks, Evie Burke. Yeah, Islamic terrorism, it's Hollywood's fault too. Unrealistic fear. Yep, there it is. Hollywood is to blame because Hollywood tells the stories to get in your head about what to be afraid of, what to be, what to champion, what's okay, what's not, right and wrong. Moral compass is always told to us through Hollywood movies, and that manufactures more consent for when shit really goes down and what side we're supposed to be on, which is always America's side. And whoever we're supporting, and then who the terrorist side is, the brown people generally are who we are against. They're the enemy. Hollywood's great at presenting that narrative to get us to manufacture our consent for the next illegal occupation or illegal war. All sentient beings. Yeah, I take Tucker over most people nowadays. Weird to admit, and Candace too. It's not actually weird. It makes sense because once we get out of our tribal mindset, we can start to call things what they are. Before a certain time, I think we all have gone through this, where we didn't look close enough. We just assumed the person on our team, they must be right. And then we'll figure it out later. Hillary Clinton must be right. She's on the blue team. She must be right. And then you'll figure it out later. So we were taught to do this reverse engineering of how we looked at the world. Everything's reverse engineering. Oh, it's Tucker. I don't like anything he says. So you're going to start with your conclusion and work backwards. Well, we're done with that. So now it's actually not weird to see that Tucker and Candace are getting things right when it comes to Palestine. They're right. If they get something else wrong, we can see that too. It's very easy. It's actually very easy once you figure it out. Stop reverse engineering everything. Start from now and work ahead. Start from right in front of you. What are you looking at? Start from that. Get some historical context. Go back in time. Look at now, but don't start with a conclusion. That's the point. That's the point. So thanks for that. Yeah, Whitney is excellent. Thank you, Wish to Go. Yeah, Craig William, thank you for that on YouTube. National security. Yes. Thanks for all that. We'll just do a couple more. Wish to Go. Yeah, the United States of Palantir. There's been a coup. That's it. If that sums up everything, that sums it up. United States of Palantir. This goes beyond United States of Israel. So Palantir goes even beyond. The three-front war goes beyond war with Iran. It's war with Russia. It's war with China. Palantir, United States of Palantir. We might call that next episode that, actually. So thank you for that. Wish to Go. Really appreciate it. Leslie, there she is. I hope Leslie can join us on Thursday. That would be cool. Because I can't keep doing this talking back. Come on, guys. I'm trying, but I need some help. Either Leslie, Jamie, Craig, they're great. I'm doing my best. Haha, he'll like that. And yes, I know that quote from the movie. Mad as hell and not gonna take it anymore. Yeah, and the quote you're referring to is from Eva Burke. We're sick and tired. We won't take it anymore. Wait, what's that quote from? You guys know what I mean. Yep. It's from Network. That's the quote. It's from Network. So thank you both for that. Airwaves. HOLLYWOKE is a favorite. Yep. That's kind of our thing. It's kind of our little niche from here. We always give you guys the HOLLYWOKE perspective. Best we can. Best we can. Thank you for that. We'll follow anything else I didn't get to. We'll roll them in the credits, but we do have one more segment for you guys. One more segment coming up for you guys in a second here. Yeah, let's end with this one. Acosta's not a journalist. He's a corporate talking head. That's right. And we didn't expect anything else from Acosta in this interview. It's just this fake interview he did with the AI of the dead kid really shows us a very dark and disturbing trajectory that we're headed towards in what we call journalism. And what better head to do it, a talking head, than Acosta? What better talking head than to demonstrate to us where we're headed next? So thank you for that, Airways. And this has been another Talking Back with Matt. Okay, last story for you guys for the day. And like I said earlier, we will throw up some of the comments that came in later on the final credits here. Let me throw this up. This is yeah, we're gonna do this RFK story. Let's go ahead and cue this up. Man, every time we think we're gonna get a good one from RFK, they fail us. Actually, before we do that, I did see a Rumble rant. I did see a Rumble rant. Okay. Here we go. Man, they don't come up on StreamYard, but I do see the Rumble rant from Airways. Let me grab it from, let me do this. I'm going to grab it from the Rumble. I'm going to copy and paste it here. That's the best I can do. I wish StreamYard would figure this out, but I'm just doing a little cut and paste jobs for Airways. Thank you for the Rumble rant. Here we go. I'm going to post this one right now, and then we'll get to the RFK story. Here it is. From Airways, Rumble rant. Thank you. The symbol is called slash or forward slash, front slash in the Urban Dictionary. Is vagina. Very cool. Thank you so much for that, Airways. Really, really appreciate it. for the Rumble rant. Any other Rumble rants or super chats coming in, let us know. We'll certainly get it up before we end the show. With that said, let's get into our final subject, our final topic, our final story for the day. You guys know it. You love it. It's time for We Know What It's Not. Here we go.
But the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
But this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
The conspiracy theory about this related to vaccine, you're right.
We had to really move at the speed of science.
Doctors are baffled. They're looking into it. Don't worry. They'll be back with the answers soon enough. Don't hold your breath. It might take them several years, but they're working on it right now as we speak. In the meantime, they can assure you without 100%, with 100% conviction, they will let you know that we know what it's not. And we have some kind of breaking news regarding RFK Jr., but we're kind of sick of holding our breath about the guy because he's not doing anything he promised. He's not getting the mRNA off the shelves, not happening. He has been focusing on food. Food has been contaminated. Food has been bad. The food system needs to be looked at. And, you know, we heard about him taking the red 40 dye out of the cereals, things like that, to get us more in line the way they do it in Europe, which is still a capitalist control in Europe. It's still the big food companies still control stuff, but it's a little bit better. Are we close to that yet? Hard to tell. But one thing he is doing now, and we just got word on this one, RFK Jr., Secretary of the Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr., has now taken action to fully ban food stamps from being used to obtain soda. That is the SNAP program here in U.S. That's the SNAP. That's where a lot of Americans depend on for food. He's taking the option of buying soda away. Let's hear him explain to you, and then we'll talk about whether this is good or bad or what's actually going on. Here we go.
MAGA event in Washington about eliminating sugary foods and drinks in many states from the SNAP program, the food stamp program. Let's listen.
In a chronic disease crisis, her changes to the SNAP program are emblematic of that commitment. SNAP, we're spending $405 million a day on SNAP, and about 10% is going to sugary drinks. And between, and if you add candies to that, it's about 13 to 17%. And we all believe in free choice. We live in a democracy. People can make their own choice about what they're going to buy and what they're not going to buy. If you want to buy a sugary soda, you ought to be able to do that.
Isn't that weird? If you want to buy a sugary soda, you ought to be able to do that. If you're not dependent on food stamps, then you should be punished. Isn't it interesting that he's not calling out the soda company for putting shitty ass products out that are hurting Americans? The sugar in the soda, which is hurting Americans. Isn't that interesting that he's focusing on people who aren't doing so well, that rely on SNAP to get their groceries? Isn't that interesting that he's punching down? Now, I know what some of you are going to say. Well, at least he's doing that. They shouldn't. And what he's going to say next, we'll let him say it. But what he's going to tell us is that you shouldn't be able to use government money, of tax money. You shouldn't be able to use that to buy shitty stuff. Okay, but the shitty stuff is still available for people to choose. Like he just said, choose if you want to infect yourselves with the poison food, which will be available because we're not going after the poison food. We're going after the people who rely on government assistance. Well, go on. Tell us that part, why this is important, that we punish them, not the soda sugar manufacturer. Punish the people.
The U.S. taxpayer should not pay for it. The U.S. taxpayer should not be paying to to feed kids foods, the poorest kids in our country, with foods that are going to give them diabetes. And then my agency ends up through Medicaid and Medicare paying for those injuries. So we're going to put an end to that, and we're doing it step by step, state by state. I'm also working with Secretary Rollins on the dietary guidelines, which should come out next month. The dietary, they're coming out, I think it's the end of September, 3 months ahead of schedule. And the dietary guidelines that we inherited from the Biden administration were 453 pages long. They were driven by the same commercial impulses that put Fruit Loops at the top of the food pyramid. And they were incomprehensible. And we are going to release dietary guidelines that are 4, 5, or 6 pages long, that are understandable, that are simple, and will allow people to make good choices about their food. They will drive changes in the school lunch program and prison lunches and military food, and they will begin to change America almost immediately.
Okay, so everything he's saying, none of it is accomplishing anything. And let me explain. It's not accomplishing anything because he's saying we're going to update guidelines. That's like, he didn't say this specifically, but like the food pyramid that was taught to us wrong on purpose. When you say we're going to update the guidelines, it's suggesting that we're learning new information that's going to help us improve what is healthy and what is not. It's not holding anyone accountable for purposely poisoning our food system. It's not holding anyone accountable for purposely giving us wrong information about the food pyramid, like the American Cancer Association recommending that we eat bacon, which is insane. Why would a cancer organization tell us to eat bacon for a healthy meal? We know that was done on purpose. It's not an accident. The same people who came up with the food pyramid are the same people that invested in the smoking industry and were told, your industry is failing. You better get off of the smoking train and get on the food train. Same people. We know this. RFK knows this. So we're going to update guidelines, and then you're going to have the choice of what you want to infect yourself with, what poison you want to infect yourself with. We're not going to stop the food makers themselves from intentionally poisoning the food, intentionally putting ingredients in the food to make it addictive, to make it more harmful. We know that fast food restaurants do this regularly. We have the paper trail. We know that Chick-fil-A, that Popeyes, they intentionally put chemicals into their chicken burgers to make you addicted to it, to make people lining up around the block. We have so many of these Chick-fil-A fast food restaurants here in California, I would say in the hood area, in the more impoverished area. And you have people lined up. You have an African-American community lined up around the block to get a chicken burger at Popeyes at 10:30 in the freaking morning. Why? Because they're addicted to the chemicals that are intentionally put into it. Soda also has addictive properties on purpose to make you crave it. So he's saying we've made improvements by taking soda, and he's going to be taking, it hasn't happened yet, and I had to update the banner. I'll put the banner back up in its correct way. RFK Jr. to remove soda from SNAP. Oh, yay. You see in parentheses, but still no mRNA ban. Still no mRNA ban. He cannot get himself to take anything off of a shelf. We talk about take mRNA off the shelf. Why don't you take soda off the shelf? Why don't you take the addictive chemicals and the addictive ingredients in soda off? You can't, because we're in a capitalist model system in which food companies can poison whatever they want and put it out to the people. So when you punch down at the people themselves, people that are on government programs, and saying, we're not going to let you buy the sodas because taxpayers are paying for that. We're not going to let you have soda because we want you to be healthy. Really? RFK Jr. wants people to be healthy that are on government programs. They don't get a choice. If you're a regular American working 9 to 5, you get to choose if you want to poison yourself or not and poison your kids or not. Government handout recipients don't get to choose to poison themselves. Well, here's the kicker, and I was waiting on this. This is my big punch. Anybody who thinks that I'm a little bit too hard on RFK for this, here's the real punch. The thing he's not saying, and the thing that didn't cross your mind, crossed my mind. If you want to take sugary, poisonous soda off the SNAP options for SNAP recipients, what are you going to do about the increase in price for other drinks? Because as you guys know, we know very well, the healthier the beverage, the more expensive the bill. Are you upping their food stamp allocation? No. No. Do you know why people get addicted to soda? Do you know why? I mentioned the Chick-fil-A and the Popeyes line around the block in the hood, impoverished areas, waiting to get a chicken burger at 10:30 in the morning. Do you know why? Because they don't have much money, and they make those burgers very cheap. Soda is also very cheap. You're not going to talk about the economic problem. You're going to blame people on food stamps and not do you should be doing the opposite. You should be elevating their ability to get better food. You want to ban them from sugar? Great. Why don't you punish the sugar companies? Why don't you punish the Chick-fil-A's and the Popeyes and the Pepsis and the Coca-Colas? Punish them. In the meantime, why don't you up the benefit amount of the food stamp recipient so they can afford more than a 99-cent 2-liter bottle of shit? Why don't you give them more flexibility in their purchasing ability? They're going to the soda aisle because it's 99 freaking cents. Show me a better drink that's 99 cents. Show me a healthy drink that's 99 cents. I'll wait. You can't because they don't exist. A healthy drink is not 99 cents. It's $5. It's $7. It's $10. If you want a healthy drink, it's $10. That's how much it costs. So give them more of their food stamp allocation, and then we'll talk about canceling sugar. And go after the sugar producers. Go after the chemical producers. He's not doing it. You see that in the parentheses, but still no mRNA ban. The mRNA is still on the shelf too. And that's why this is in today's segment. I will transition this into a completely unrelated topic. We're still calling it. We know what it's not. But it's important for you guys to know, while RFK Jr. is effing around with punishing SNAP recipients, while he's effing around with that, there are more cases of people randomly dropping dead. And we have no idea why. And it would be nice if the Secretary of Health and Human Services would look into it. Actually, better than that, we don't need you should already have been looking into it before you were Health and Human Services Secretary. You should already have conclusions. I can't tell you the conclusions because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a politician. I can't tell you any conclusion. I can only report that this is actually happening. That's all I can do. So let's take a look at some of those random incidences of tragedy, which, as I told you, have absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. Influencer Chase Philandro dies at age 20. Chase Philandro was remembered by his sister as a shining light and for his incredible zest for life. He was a 20-year-old influencer based in New York City, died unexpectedly on July 31st. The content creator was an amateur actor, loved traveling, visiting national parks, a real outdoorsman. Look at that. Look at that picture. There he is. This is the time we're living in right now. We're living in a time were 20-year-old successful influencers who love the outdoors and love being in the sun, love getting vitamin D, natural vitamin D, traveling, drops dead. He dropped dead on July 31st. Just a few days ago. There's another picture. Again, this is completely unrelated to what we're talking about. Because RFK is, as the Secretary of Health and Human Services, is working on ways to improve our health. And I'm sure he's trying to get to the bottom of this at the same time, but we just have to be, we just have to be patient, right? We just have to be patient. That's it. That's it. We just have to be patient. Want to see another? Tulane basketball star Greg Glenn III dies at 22. Tulane Green Wave announced Monday that forward Greg Glenn III died at 22 over the weekend. The cause and details surrounding his death have yet to be released. Glenn was preparing for his senior season after playing 2 seasons with the Green Wave in his freshman year for the Michigan Wolverines. It is with profound sadness that I reached out to you today, the VP said in a statement. We've lost a cherished member of our university community, Greg, who died in a tragic accident this weekend. What's the accident? I hate how these are so effing vague. I hate how they're so effing vague. It's so when they start acting like this is just a normal thing, it just happens. It's such bullshit. It's such bullshit. Okay, here's one that survived. Here's one that survived. I'm noticing a trend with athletics. Bill Self hospitalized after medical emergency. Medical emergency. Hall of Fame head coach Bill Self has been hospitalized after suffering medical emergency on Thursday afternoon. Kansas U released a statement. The Jayhawks head coach was rushed to the hospital after he felt unwell and experienced some concerning symptoms. The medical emergency happened after Self conducted the final Kansas basketball practice of the summer. He was admitted to the hospital, underwent a procedure, 2 stents inserted. School says the procedure was successful, and he's going to make a full recovery. Great. Totally normal that this stuff happens to athletes, to basketball coaches, to whoever. A lot of these we just don't have answers. Again, this is like the doctors are baffled. They're looking into it. We're never going to really know on a lot of these. Let's see what's going on. Oh, here's a sudden collapse. Here's one more. Batman and Rambo star Alan Abutbal dies suddenly at 60 after collapsing on the beach. There he is. Oh, he was an Israeli actor. He was in Dark Knight Rises, Rambo 3. He collapsed at a beach near Tel Aviv after telling bystanders he felt unwell. See, we're equal opportunists here. We give coverage to also unexplained deaths in Israel too. We do, because they're just as alarming. They're just as concerning, even in Israel. Witnesses told the news outlet he had just returned from a swim. He suddenly collapsed in front of onlookers. I bet they looked around for a Hamas involvement, and then they found out that it had nothing to do with Hamas, and he just collapsed. That's my guess. That's probably the first thought they had. Where's Hamas? Where's Hamas? No, he just collapsed. After a few minutes, he suddenly came out of the water, approached people, and said he wasn't feeling well, and then they called for help. Everyone was really scared. He came out of the water and collapsed on the beach. Everyone wanted to help. They recognized who it was because I guess he had some notoriety being in these big films. He comes out of the water. Terrible tragedy this morning. Everybody here is in shock. It's really interesting. They're all in shock when a mile away from them, you have Palestinians starving to death. But that's a neither here nor there. They couldn't save him. The CPR came. They worked on him for an hour. The exact cause of death has not yet been confirmed. Doctors are baffled. They're looking into it. They'll get back to us as soon as they know. Let's just do one more, just for shits and giggles. Let's do one more. Again, completely unrelated to RFK looking into the bad food situation and punishing food stamp recipients, but not actually doing anything to the food companies and the soda companies. Totally unrelated. Actor Sung Young Kyu of Extreme Job found dead. Again, here's another example of not having an answer, and the thing just happens. It's unexpected. This was in South Korea. The actor who's featured in the 2019 comedy film Extreme Job was found dead on Monday. He was discovered by an acquaintance inside a car in a residential complex around 8 a.m., according to the police. Police said there was no sign of foul play and no suicide note. So he was just found in his car. No foul play, no suicide note. They got to bring up his drunk driving in June. Well, it's just something we got to accept. Actors will just, performers, entertainers, people, recognizable people will just show up dead. You can cite a DUI from a few months ago and maybe blame it on that. Maybe the drunkenness from June carried over into August. Who knows? But doctors are looking into it. They're baffled and they're looking into it. And that's all we can say about that right now. Perfectly normal happenings. We're not going to get, spoiler alert, we're not going to get any answers about any of these. And we're just reporting to you guys. I'm not making any conclusions. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just saying that we have a MAGA movement that has been captured. We have RFK Jr. pretending to make progress when all he's doing is talking about warning labels. That's all he's doing. And remember those commercials, those pharma commercials that were supposed to be taken off TV? That's not happening either. He's going to mimic New Zealand. That's what he said recently. We'll be like New Zealand. We'll still show the commercials. We'll just make sure there's more warnings. That's all. So remember that shit I told you during the campaign season where I said we're going to get the commercials off the TV? They're not going to be playing at Super Bowl commercials during halftime. They're not going to be playing during NFL, during the entire season, during NBA. They're not going to be playing throughout the year. Remember I told you that? I was lying. What I meant to tell you was we'll just have Pfizer put one extra warning label on their commercial. Just like New Zealand. We'll be like New Zealand. The only two countries in the world that allow Big Pharma to promote commercials on network TV. Only ones. Only ones. So warning labels. But you heard RFK. He was very clear. As Americans, we should be entitled to make choices. Make choices. When you want to stick yourself with the next mRNA is your choice. We'll let you do it. We will keep poison on the shelf in order for you to choose to poison yourself. We have to protect the poison companies. We have to protect the soda companies. We have to protect the chicken fast food joints for putting whatever chemical and harmful and deadly and dangerous ingredients into their products to create addiction, to create lifelong customers. We have to keep that lifeline alive because those are the companies that matter, that fund our entire system. We protect them. The Health and Human Services protects those companies. They do not protect you. That's what RFK Jr. is doing. And there will not be, mark my words, spoiler alert, the mRNA is never coming off the shelves. But hey, at least you'll have a choice whether you want to inject yourself with it or not. And that's the best we're going to hope for with RFK Jr. And this has been another segment of we know what it's not. Okay. Man, oh man, oh man. We have had quite a show today. I think that should do it for today. Let me queue up the end here, and I certainly want to, if there's any more, there's a few more engagements from you guys I want to highlight, and then give you a little hint about what's coming up. Yeah, okay. So this has been a pretty cool show. First time in 2 years we did an entire show, just me and you. That's it. And I think I feel pretty good about it. We might try it again. We might not for a while. I don't know. But we certainly enjoy conversations. We enjoy having interviews. We enjoy our co-hosts. This is a team. It takes a family. It takes a community to do this. Sometimes people ask me this question: how are you able to support and promote community if you are non-tribal? It's a great question. I'll answer it for you guys if you're thinking about that. How can both be true? How can we be about community but also be non-tribal? Because community does not have to be about tribal behavior. Community can be about acceptance. Community can be about real values that we thought the left used to have. They didn't. We thought it was about diversity, acceptance, open-mindedness. It's what progressiveness should be. And if you're a right-wing populist and you don't like the word progressive, that's okay. You don't have to call yourself that. You don't have to call yourself anything. That's the point. The community of the non-tribal community, we don't care about labels. That's the best part. We call the show The Homeless Left. It's where we came from. I'm not identifying really as anything other than being non-tribal. And that's the community we are building. A community of non-tribal thinkers that can use their critical thinking skills. You're not obliged. You're not having to pledge your loyalty. This idea of pledging your loyalty to Israel, pledge your loyalty to this, to that, to the color red, to the color blue. It's bullshit. No more pledging anything. We're not about pledging anything. You can be part of any group you want, any team you want. We recommend you not sign your name in blood on any tribe or team. We hope you don't do that, but you can. You're still welcome in our space. But let's keep building this together, this community of real populism, right and left and up and down, all around, coming together, using our critical thinking skills again. That's what it's about. No more tribal think. That's what the Homeless Left is about. And we're open to homeless right as well. And we might start a whole homeless ensemble of a homeless panel of more than just what we're doing. We're not the end all be all. We're just a starting point from where we're coming from. So again, I've appreciated you guys today on this special show. It's been a special show for me. This has been our most intimate one we've done in 2 years. So I appreciate you guys very much. Let me put a couple more of these comments up, and then we'll draw this out at the end. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ishigo. Yes, appreciate that. You pulled it off, Matt. And Pamela Drew, thanks for tuning in. Studley solo event. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. You know what, Craig William, I got to put this up. This is true. Dr. Shiva was right about Bobby. I know he calls him Booby. I get the reference. He was right. And we have no problem saying he was right. No problem at all. I'm not going to go down the Dr. Shiva trail right now, but we will call it out when he gets it right, and we'll call it out when he gets it wrong. And that's what we should do. We should hold everybody to that same standard. But he was right about a lot of things. He was right about Bobby, Booby, as you say. He was right about that, and the ceasefire now was a psyop. He was 100% right. He knew that immediately. Like October 10th, we had him on the show, like the middle of October of 2023, the first conversation I had with Dr. Shiva, and he told us immediately that hashtag ceasefire now was a psyop. It wasn't real. It should be end the occupation. 100% right about that. So we give them credit where credit is due. Very, very cool. We got a few more great comments from you guys. Yeah, you know what, Airways? True. He's a pompous ass. He's a pompous ass. And he was very rude to me and Jay Scott on our final interview with, I say final because I don't see another situation where we would have another one with him, although we never know, something could change. But as of now, we're calling it our final interview. We did 4 with him, 4 interviews with Dr. Shiva. By far, the last one, he was the most rude and pompous we've seen. But I'm glad we had it. I don't regret it at all. Jay and I did it together, and you know, we called his ass out when appropriately so. But yes, you still have to give acknowledgement when people get it right. Even somebody who even personally disrespects you, you gotta acknowledge it. Because if you don't, then you're not a good actor. Then you're a bad actor. If you're going to pretend that somebody's wrong about something just because they got something else wrong, you're not being honest. You're not being honest. So yeah, we don't appreciate the behavior from the show that day, but you never know what could change in the future. Who knows? I might get a nice apology letter in the mail. A strongly worded apology might be coming, but I'm not holding my breath. Okay, let's not go off on that tangent right now. A few more great comments from you guys, and that should do it. That should do it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll throw up the rest of your guys' comments at the very on the backside here, and we're gonna leave you with this. This is great. This is great. This is you know her, independent journalist. I'd love to have her on the show at some point. Abby Martin. She's predicting the inevitable fall of Zionism, and I feel this is a very hopeful way to end the show. Very serious and stern depiction that she gives, but it's hopeful at the same time. Stern yet hopeful. Let's end with that today. Thank you everyone for tuning in to our special one-on-one intimate show with you guys today. And Thursday, be back with us here, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. We'll have Pasta back in the studio. Well, not in the studio. He'll be back on the east side, reporting to us on the studio. We have Jay Scott coming back. And we'll see about Jamie Cheese Slice, Leslie coming in as well. We'll see. We also a couple guests I can't announce yet, but we're working on getting 1 or 2 guests as well. It'll be a big show. Then we're taking a week off. So don't miss Thursday's show. Thank you guys again for tuning in. This is The Homeless Left, the non-tribal approach to news. Matt Weinglass, your host today. And go back and watch anything you missed. We love it. We'll have the segments up as well for you guys very soon. And remember, always go at the world with courage, with principle, and conviction. They're all equal. I do them in different orders every week. They're all important. Courage, conviction, and principle, all equally important. Free Palestine and power to the people. Power to the people. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you, guys.
Gaza need to know that it's the beginning of the end of the Zionist state. Okay. The Zionist state will not survive. To stay in the same place, they have to kill and kill and kill. That's the only thing they know how to do. And that's not a surviving strategy. And the more people who wake up, and certainly tens of millions of more people have woken up to the truth, to the barbaric nature of what Zionism is and what Israel really represents, there's no going back for them. So for decades, pro-Palestine advocates have been on the defense to explain why defense of Palestine, why advocacy for Palestinian liberation is not anti-Semitic, why criticizing Israel is not anti-Semitic. That is no longer the case. Zionists are on the defense now, explaining why they support apartheid and genocide. They're no longer going to be allowed in the same spaces as progressives. It is a racist, colonial, genocidal ideology, and it has been exposed